What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You are listening to Ninja Night. This is Chatterbox number 4. Very excited to be doing another show. And what I wanted to say as well at the start of the stream was I got contacted by a couple of people during the week that are asking for these streams to go up on Spotify. So I'm definitely going to do that. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the audio and I'm going to upload it there. So I know a number of people want to be able to put this onto their phones or onto their iPods or whatever it might be, whatever device that they're using, and be able to listen to these shows whilst they're going along. Bear with me as this is going to take growing pains, by the way, because when we're looking at articles, I usually have the articles up due to a visual nature of it. And what I want to be able to do then going forward is talk about the article and kind of describe on it. So if anybody is listening in, they know what we're talking about. But bear with me, it's going to be growing pains because it's going to take me a while to do it. I'm just letting you know, all right? So I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that reaches out and makes great suggestions like that towards the channel. I'm very happy with that. I've put a Teespring link in the description down below because a lot of people have been asking me as well about adding merchandise from the channel to somewhere, and that's what I've done at the moment. I'm going to wait until I see someone maybe else in the design process. There's a couple of people that are actively messaging me as well that are interested in working with me in design terms, like carousel design, for example. Is very interested, so I'm looking forward to that, and I suppose we'll see what happens on the website and we'll see what type of support it gets, because I will be putting up stuff there that I think looks funny or is going to be funny or people might like, and indeed making good statements. Like I have one up there, Ireland for the Irish, and it's a very simple statement and to me very effective, and a lot of people I'm sure will be very happy to wear that out there, especially in the colour green. It's green and it looks fantastic with the type of writing, the distressed look that it has. It's really nice. I have to say so myself. I think it looks decent. Anyway, that's enough of that chilling on that sort of stuff. Links are in the description down below to support the channel. As always, links in the description as well too in the chat there also. And the multiple different social media apps that I have are in the description below. I always like to say to people, if you're going to reach out to me through Gab or Gettr. I don't like using the other platforms or anything like that to communicate, because it's been made very clear over the last couple of weeks as to what those platforms are doing. And when you see then even Instagram itself has been charged with over 400 million euros worth of damages because if they've broke GDPR here in Ireland alone. That's why when I'm talking to people through the likes of that, I'm very short, I suppose. A lot of people probably think I'm short when they're messaging me. That's why. And that's why I won't click links or anything like that on those type of apps, because those apps are as dirty as the day is long. So bear with me on those type of things as well, whereas the likes of Gab and Gettr, personally, I think are much better for various different reasons, and I think Gab is way more encrypted anyway. That's just my own thoughts, and again, like that, I've no shares or nothing like that or anything like in Gab. It's just somewhere that I think a lot of people are talking. They're able to talk about what's going on. They're able to share memes. They're able to share different articles, and there's no censorship over there whatsoever. So, like I said, that's the type of stuff I like, and I like to support that. During the week, I went on to the Plastic Paddy podcast. Well, I should say Plastic Paddy Live, as he was saying. That was very enjoyable. And a number of people here in the chat reached out to me and they said to me, listen, Ninja, you need to get yourself over to Plastic Paddy. And I think what was really clear and very good, because he's a guy that's been in this game for a while, is he was talking about his channel being Plastic Paddy. And then he mentioned, and it was something I've always thought about. He said, like, when someone suggested to me about Ninja Night, he's like, I didn't know how to spell it or what way to spell it. He's like, because there's multiple ways of spelling it. It's something I've always thought about, but I think now with the name, I'm very happy with the name, and I'm happy with the way it looks, and I'm happy with how I'm going to carry it going forward. I know it might be a little bit difficult, especially when you have like Plastic Paddy has his channel. It's perfect. It's very easy to find. Like some Mark Goldbridge, I suppose, as well with the United Stand, very easy to find. It's very identifiable. I know for mine, it's a little bit different. So that's why I have the likes of Chatterbox now being added in. And that's after seeing a dramatic increase in the live. So I'm just letting you in on the types of stuff that I like to look at and the analytics side of things. When you change the likes of the things like the rebranding as I've done, Chatterbox is way much of an easier search. And it's gone from, I think, in the first week that I did it, I think 820 views. I was averaging in and around 1,000 views anyway for the previous lives. And it went up then to 840. I think it was from 20 to 40, I think it was. And then last week's show went up to 1,000. So I was like, right, that's caught on now. And that Chatterbox, even when I'm looking at the analytics, I can look now over the last couple of weeks and I can see that that is a search term that people are using. They're still using Ninja Night Show, Ninja Night Live, which is fine. But Chatterbox is getting people directly to this really quickly. So I'm very happy with that. So I took what Plastic Paddy had said, funnily enough, in mind way before I met him. It was a lovely stream as well, very interesting, very down to earth guy, and it was interesting to hear from him because it's something I've been talking about on this channel. I think, again, I'll be saying to Jordan this stream, I think we've started to realize that the enemy of our enemy is our friend, and especially when you see the amount of articles that are coming out about the Kinahans, I keep saying that they must possess something that the establishment greatly fear, because why else would they know every single movement that these guys make? But they're not interested in what Luke O'Neill has been doing. They're not interested in what Stephen Donnelly's been doing. They're not interested in what Paul Reid has been doing. People that have been up to, in my opinion, criminal behaviour over the last couple of years. Rights, freedom, civil liberty stripped away. President Higgins involved in that. Micheál Martin, Leo Varadkar, all of the parties, in my estimation, especially with the likes of Sinn Féin being the weakest opposition of all time, these are all culpable for very serious crimes in my view. So that's what needs to keep being talked about. And I think it's great to see the amount of protests that are occurring, and even another fantastic one there during the week. I'll show you some of the videos from that. And I really have to say this, it is fantastic to see people, average, normal people, discussing things with politicians and the politicians not knowing what to do. Because we've lived for far too long in this country and other countries in the world, I'm sure, but definitely in this country, of there's your man, he's a bollocks, say nothing. That's over. That finished, it did, when all of these people wanted to enter clown world fully and totally in the last couple of years. So I know it's an older generational thing as well. I think the younger generation, we're always looked as the punk generation, especially, funny enough, the older generation started that. Now this is the generation as well that's gone, okay, you want to throw civility to the ground? That's fine. We'll do that too. Because the older generation are like, well, there's still respect. You're not getting respect from anybody. You're not getting respect from this government. You're not getting respect from the Gardaí. That's very evident now at this stage. And you're not getting any respect from politicians that are supposed to be opposing politicians. So why would you then issue respect towards people that have clearly shown you that they absolutely despise you? That's something that I'll continually ask. And something as well that happened during the week, we'll talk about obviously throughout the stream. But you see some of the people that are upset about people not mourning the Queen. These people would want to cop onto themselves. Are you serious? You want people to mourn a 96-year-old woman that's overseeing some serious stuff. Charles, friends with Jimmy. Andrew, friends with Jeffrey. And you think that she didn't know about that? Because if I know that in this gonzo production, and many other people know that, she certainly did. And to do nothing about that, and to see some of the reaction that we've seen from the police, even in the UK, about that, is very telling. And this is what I keep telling people. The internet is something that has greatly sped up the process as to our side coming back and making sure we accumulate wins. You've seen it as well in Sweden now. This is something that is going to be very interesting to see going forward, because the media are totally underreporting it. So that goes to show the fear. I got a number of people that would contact me and they'd say that they're really angry and full of rage. And I'd say to them, listen, it's all about being calm and getting the message across, because way more people are going to cross the line over to this side. Once you remain peaceful, once you keep getting the message out there, once you keep remaining honest, that's what's going to gain support. And that's exactly what you're starting to see now. You're starting to see people walk from one side to the other. The lefty platforms are not getting any sort of support anymore. Like I said, that show that I've done now, 2 weeks, it's grown in numbers, in views. Plastic Paddies was very good for numbers as well also. So these are the things that are happening. And with the likes of the internet as well, a couple of people sent me a couple of videos as well of John Connors going on to a certain podcast. And a lot of people have figured John Connors out as well also. So that's another one where people are starting to see connections, as I do always say. If you see certain people being connected and being asked about certain things or whatever, you know exactly what side of the fence that they are on. And no better man than John Connors for people to figure out where he's standing. I prefer Tyson Fury, always have, always will. He's a guy that's speaking out and he's talking the truth and has always talked the truth about what's going on, and a very big follower of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So, big fan of Tyson. Anyway, great stream that we did during the week with Plastic Paddy. I know it was a late one. A lot of people were messaging me and saying, Ninja Night, it's 11 p.m. here and you're rocking on until 2 a.m. with Plastic Paddy. I'm like, yeah, it's a good time. Having a good time. So check out that stream. That was more of a chill stream, I suppose. And it's something that we've been talking about that we probably do maybe once a month. And I'd like to have Plastic Paddy across here on this channel as well, talk to him over here. And Like I said, I'm always happy to do interviews. I'll have to get Satirical Soldier on here at some stage. I'll have to make up some sort of arrangement with him to get him on. He's been doing fantastic stuff. Fantastic artist, by the way. This fella is a jack of all trades. He can sing. He's a fantastic artist. And then he's putting out great YouTube videos. I mean, the man can do it all. The Philip Dwyer as well, too. Big shout out to him. And great to see him playing 5D chess. We'll go past the 4D chess. We'll say 5D chess, about alerting the Gardaí about wanting to attend a public meeting that he was then refused from. We'll see that in tonight's show. I think my honest opinion on the situation was it's just a little bit of a pity that there was short notice with regards to that, because if there was more people there, I think that would have been fantastic for more people to back Philip, because, I mean, that centre was absolutely disgraceful in my opinion. And always, as well, as I keep pointing out, leftist women that were there that were talking at him and not listening to what he was saying, and then other fellas then that are very, how can we say, very suspicious looking individuals that were there also, that are denying this man the ability to gain entry and to be able to ask questions to these politicians that clearly don't want to be asked questions in front of people. Now, I would say this, I hope Philip in future, because I know what he does with his recordings, I think it's brilliant stuff. A couple of people had made suggestions of it. Again, I'm not saying we'll go with the speculatively, allegedly stuff. We speculatively. That's how the left would say. Speculatively, guys, what one should probably do in situations like that is perhaps take a bit of a leaf out of the book of a certain project that likes to have cameras in the likes of vests or lapels or whatever it might be. Now, again, that would be very interesting, because if the selfie stick and the camera phone isn't there, how did they then deny this man from entry? You know what I'm saying? But that's not the first time that that's been done. It's happened to the Irish Inquiry also. And it's very clear now that there's politics behind that. And in my view, if you're a serious political party and you want to be opposition, you should be able to field questions from the people. This is the problem that we have in Ireland. You see, this is the difference between us and America. In America, you know the name Peter Odysee. You know the name Tucker Carlson. Because these are guys, in particular Peter Odysee, that is asking direct questions to the likes of the press secretary and catching them out constantly. That's not something that happens here, because it doesn't happen here because we only have RTE. Again, I'm still absolutely flummoxed and bamboozled as to why no based millionaire or billionaire patriot has set up their own media corporation. I mean, that was a perfect time to do it over the last couple of years, and indeed drive forward and be part of the conversation and ask the difficult questions. I think Ben Scallon, I think at one stage was in at a meeting, I think, with Tony Hill, and I could be remembering this incorrectly. It could be a female journalist, but I'm nearly sure it was Ben Scallon from Gript, and asked a question. And I don't think he's been permitted to any of those events since then. So with a big wig behind something like that, they could make an awful lot of noise about that, and they could talk to these people very regularly and catch them out lovely. And that's what we've seen this week, because this is why you're seeing a growing concern from politicians about video recording. They're very concerned about a narrative getting out of hand, which is what has just happened with Paul Murphy. Paul Murphy, in my opinion, has told complete lies about the situation that happened during the week. But we'll have a look at that now in a moment. I'm going to do now is going to jump into the chat and say hello to everyone here. So we have Spirit this Monday, says, "Evening Ninja and everyone in the chat. Happy Friday. Hope you're all well. Probably will be a short show tonight, Ninja. There is sweet FA happening in the world, to be honest." These shows are never short, but I'm going to try and condense them now because I know people have lives. Anyway, Derek McMahon says, "Evening all. Welcome to the chat. If you have a question/comment for Ninja Night, remember to use the @Ninja Night in the chat. Much appreciated, Derek. Absolutely super work. And thanks again. By the way, I keep forgetting to do it, but it's always meant in heart and mind. Thank you very much to everybody that's a mod in the chat. You're doing absolutely brilliant work, and I very much so appreciate it. Thank you. Chris says, F's sake, he's again. Emmanuel Godson says, yo, by the way, big shout out to Emmanuel Godson. I've seen the video that Emmanuel's done. He's done about a 12-minute video he has, and it's gone up. Unfortunately, you can't put it up on Gab, which is a bit of a nightmare because he only let so much megabytes they do onto it. But anyway, that aside, Emmanuel put up a 12-minute video of the artwork that he has done. He's done fantastic artwork, and from what I understood from the video, this has been denied presentation in a public gallery. This is outrageous stuff, it is. And these are people that are interested in Irish nationalism. I mean, you've seen many a video now today of Monty Burns running around the Pennies and Smiths, or was it Tallaght? I think it was. It's not Smiths. Anyway, I was going to say Swords, I think, there, and I went on to Smiths. Anyway, You've got Monty Burns that's running out. There actually is a Smiths out in Tala, funnily enough, as well. So you've got Monty Burns running around the pennies out there in Tala, and he's been cheered by people there. Now, that is a staggering thing to think of. People that are probably on the lowest band of wage are can I speak tonight? Are clapping and cheering for Monty walking into the place. Big RTE camera as well too, panning it around. I'd say it was a very well coordinated event. Since then, someone has said that their jewellery's gone missing. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's quite strange. Anyway, Monty's walking through there, and there's a big song and dance about it, and he's saying, it's great that we've opened the pennies here. That's the same place, by the way, Tala in the square, that wants to introduce paid for parking for you to then go in and do your shopping. Like, that is absolutely scandalous. And when you think about bigger countries around the world, this is what an awful lot of people forget, by the way. When you go to the likes of America and you go to an outlet, or you go to the likes of a mall, as they call them over there, a lot of parking over there is free. Not all of it, but most of it. Certainly at the likes of an outlet. That's free. So you're telling me now that the likes of Lucan, where they have Liffey Valley, and people from Lucan are probably like, that's not in it. Liffey Valley's not in Lucan. Anyway, I'd always attribute it to it. Anyway, Liffey Valley, they want to pay for parking. You've got the square in Tala wants to pay for parking. Soon you'll have it out in the likes of Airside. Soon you'll have it in the likes of, well, you already have it in Dundrum, I suppose. And then soon you'll have it then in other places, then the likes of Blanchetown Centre as well. Now, these are all things that these people are gaining money from, particularly the state, from what I understand. And the money is just being funneled into God knows where, because the roads are absolutely woeful here in this country. Like the third world roads, they are absolutely woeful. But anyway, going back to what I was saying there, Emmanuel Godson there has put on a brilliant number of pieces there on Telegram, and he has shown that video. And I hope what Emmanuel will do is, I think it would be great to see him have an auction himself, or set up his own nationalist auction, something to do with that, and start moving away. Because, I mean, this is what it's about as well, Emmanuel. It's about moving away from these people. And if that gallery doesn't want to present your work, that's fine. You say, that's grand, we're going to do our own one over here, and it's going to be more successful. And like I said, Satirical Soldier, a very good artist also. I'm sure many people will buy the memes or the paintings that he's doing. And I think that's something that can be done. So why not do that? It might start off small. It might start off as a Sunday, market type thing, but it'll get there. And that's what it's about, because you have to circumvent these weirdos. I mean, who wants to be buying a Jackson Pollock painting when you can be buying paintings of patriots, you know what I mean? Or patriotic things. Anyway, Sean Mack is in here, says, good evening. D Who says, what's up, Ninja, and what's up, everyone? Ballyky Bill says, one the ninja. BLD is in here, says, Ireland. Good to see you here. Good stuff. Tom Jones says, sup, everybody. Finola Murkiv says, good evening. Good to see you here. Hinden Pier 2.0 says, Jim McDonald. Not sure about that. Borava 1014 says, Gettr are not 32 counties, they are 32 genders. I love this chat. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Gettr are weird individuals, and the less said about them, the better. They're absolutely strange little fellas. There was another one that they did recently as well too, where they did some sort of little song and they were dancing away, and I was like, oh my God, the cringe levels are off the chart here. They are. I know a couple of people that went to secondary school with them and they despised them. So anyway, that's all I know about those guys. Laura Tots in here says, hi everyone, good to see you here from Canada. Hope all's well. We have Chris Cocoa, I think he's called, but also known as Chris Guy, coming to Ireland. We'll be talking that tonight. Derek Bloig has him in a town square talk. That's going to be great. Ben Truth Uncover says, speaking of wins, any footage of Murphy? Yeah, I've got the footage. I will hatch out this evening. We will. Samurai Jack says, hello on this glorious night. You see, that's the thing about a legitimate media, by the way, Ben Truth. Like, if a legitimate media was present in this country, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I was tired of the lies. I was tired of what was obvious. And I said, look, I'm just going to come onto this platform and say this is absolute nonsense. And also then spread myself across other ones like Rumble and Odysee. That are very good platforms. And it's exactly to do that. I mean, the footage is out there. Are you telling me now that RTE can't get a hold of the footage and be like, listen, this fella's telling lies here? That's outrageous. But what they'll do is they'll go with it now for the next couple of weeks and be like, Paul Murphy was kicked. I can't believe that people were kicking him. Everything happened. There's no proof of that whatsoever. And you're telling me that the left are saying that? The left are known for lying. They tell lies all of the time. This is a fella that, I would say it in the video, this is a fella that's running around with a mask on him still, even with all of the data that's out there, all of the data that disproves this. By the way, big shout out to Rand Paul. He's telling Fauci when they gain control, by the way, in November, that he's coming after Fauci and he's going to get his bank accounts and who's paying him. This is going to be unbelievable. Like I said to you, and I've said before, what we're seeing here now at the moment and what you're seeing in front of your very eyes is biblical. You are seeing good and evil throw down in front of your eyes. There's never been a time like this, I don't think, before in history that we've had such access to what's going on. We know some things about what's happened in the past, and as we know, the history is always written by the victors, and there's skewed points and some points that are starting to resurge now from 1930s, 1940s Germany, that you're looking at it and you're saying to yourself, like, I wonder if there was any messing there also, and maybe any messing previous to that. Because for sure, even when Michael Collins comes up nowadays, Michael Collins' commemoration is a very interesting one because the current government, I'm sure, wouldn't like to commemorate and don't seem to make a big song and dance about whatsoever. Here's the thing. They make a bigger song and dance about the month of June than they do Michael Collins. And that lets you know everything you need to know about this government. They don't want you to know and commemorate a man that was known for using, shall we say, guerrilla tactics and for not conversing with people, we shall say. That's what he was known for. And they are very afraid, in my opinion, about celebrating that man because they look at what's going on around the rest of the world. They know that people see what's happened in Sweden. They know people have seen what's happened in Sri Lanka. They know people have seen what's happened in Afghanistan. And that's why there's a lack of commemoration. But that lets me know more about them than it does them about us, because we're happy to commemorate him and say, yeah, this was a great fella, like, and he's done great things for Ireland. Why wouldn't you be proud of him? Do you know what I mean? So that's why you've seen this reclusion from them towards the likes of Michael Collins, and why you've seen them try to prop up Eamon De Valera an awful lot more. So wait and you see that now for the next couple of years. They'll prop up De Valera an awful lot more, and they'll try to minimise what they do surrounding Michael Collins because they know very well. But like I said, there's all sorts of theories surrounding that one as well too. But anyway, we'll move on. Let's see. Long in the chat. Talking about Gettr. Yeah, let's have a look there. Honey Monster says, say hello to Mariah, please. Hello, Mariah. Good to see her. Samurai Jack says, Ninja Knight, happy Friday, man. Hope you're well, bro. All's good. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Manuel Godson saying shucks in the chat. Fair play to you. People talking about Enoch Burke in the chat. Yeah, Enoch Burke's still in jail. So how is it that Enoch Burke has done more jail time than Leo Varadkar? Like, Leo Varadkar was caught bank of rights, was he not? Director of Public Prosecutions didn't want to prosecute him. Now, we've gotten a good story this evening from the Director of Public Prosecutions, because I'm telling you, if this one had went by, it would have been absolute mayhem in the place. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, Leo Varadkar was under a criminal investigation and is someone that they decided not to prosecute for what was, in my opinion, completely obvious. Now, that to me was when there was a real breakdown here in society, and I think a lot more people now started to realise through the gift of the internet that things aren't quite the way they should be. And what we're seeing is an inversion of law. I keep saying that to people now. What you're seeing is inverse. You're seeing Enoch Burke sitting in a jail cell now for over 11 days, is he at this stage? Sitting in a jail cell, and none of these people have done time. Like, isn't that amazing? You've got a guy there that this all stems from, because the left are stupid, by the way, because when you put it back to them and say, yeah, listen, they're like, oh, he went against a court order. And I'd say to them, yeah, well, listen, Rosa Parks sat where she sat on the bus. You would have been the very same person that would have scoffed at her, reefed her off the bus and thrown her there and been clapping the police on for doing what they'd done. Wasn't right, was it? Oh, my God, I can't believe you suggest that. No. You would be the very person. I know, and I support Rosa Parks and what she did. I know what was going on then was wrong, and I think she was right to do what she did, but you don't. And in your heart of hearts, you know that. And by the way, that's why you're seeing such frivolous anger surrounding Enoch Burke, because here's what it comes down to. This is exactly the same thing that we've seen with regards to the masks, with regards to not wanting to be locked down, with regards to being forced into taking something that was experimental and has been causing all sorts of damage since then. These people understand that they don't have the balls. They do not have the courage to step up. You know, in the lizard part, keep talking about lizards, you know, in the primal part of your brain that what's gone on over the last number of years is wrong. And you're too afraid. You're too much of a coward. This is the left. Too much of a coward to step up and say, yeah, that's bang out of order. there's no way there could be 32 genders. There's no way a man should be sitting in prison for refusing to say they instead of he. Absolute nonsense and codswallop. And the same people as well too that be running over to you going, put your mask on. I'll tell you what, the tables have turned now, and it has very much so the script been flipped, because I keep doing it now when I see people out. I'm like, right, you're the type of person that wanted to do me for the last couple of years. Wait till you hear this. I keep going to people that have their mask on and going, why are you still wearing the mask? It's a hoax. You're out there being conned. And they just look at you. They don't know what to do. And I go, you're a disgrace. These people don't know what to do. And that's what I'm saying about things. And that's a very courteous response. And it's a very courteous thing to say, because these people are running at you. Put the mask on. Put the mask on. You're putting me in danger. Shut up. Shut up. You have no clue what's going on. So anyway, we'll jump into a couple of stories this evening and some absolute humdingers we have this evening for this show. Quick swig. A couple of people asked me, did I have a drink during the week? Because there was a very big fervor around, Britain were sad, everywhere else went da, 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 da. I'll tell you what, I might be on the side of Meghan Markle, lads. I might be on the side of Meghan Markle now, because when I've seen how she's been treated over the last week or so, and I'm like, okay, let's just put it like this. By the way, Sky News Australia, forget about them. They were trying to talk down what the Shamrock Rovers fans were doing, and I have no issue with what the Shamrock Rovers fans were doing. Because here's the thing, a lot of people like to forget this and go, oh my God. Well, here's the thing. You want to play by these rules, I'll play by these rules with you. You want to tell me that the likes of slavery affected black people, it did for hundreds of years, which it did, and you want to bring that up now, okay, that's fine. We're playing the game too. We were here way longer than they were. We were abused by the British Empire way longer than they were, and that's why I have a bit of a problem with that. Now, I'll have other people have problems with that far more than I do, and especially if you're living in the north, and that's the difference. But bringing it back home and bringing it back more so to modern time, this is a woman that saw over her two sons. Is Andrew a son? I think he is anyway. We just put it out there. Charles and Andrew, I don't know too much about the family, but what I do know is these people are related. These two fellas were hanging around with very shady people and doing very shady things. So forgive me, if you will, if I don't not mourn someone that decided not to sort that out, and what has enabled the world to be engulfed in here now. Like I was talking about with Plastic Paddy during the week, he's a guy that was telling me that has a record himself. And he was like, again, confirmed what I had said, and people that I know that be in similar circumstances. He's like, they put us on one side of the fence, and guys like Jimmy and Jeffrey on the other. He's like, because they knew, he's like, that in our heart of hearts, what we do. And I'm saying, isn't that amazing to think that someone that would be perceived, because this is the difference when, as he was saying, and it's fantastic, it was a fantastic conversation, someone that's on the breadline, someone that's very much so trying to make a living any way they can to not starve. And they are maybe moving something, or maybe they are doing something else, and like that, it happens. Okay? But they know in their heart of hearts, people that might be perceived as being negative people, they know, and some people that have done very negative things, they know that those guys like Jimmy and Jeffrey, they know what to be doing with them. Anyway, let's go on. The show shall roll on. The charge has been upgraded for this fella. Now, this has come under sustained public pressure, in my belief, because this was something that was going to be possibly moved on and forgotten in memory hold, but this has been driven on. So there's an awful lot of people there that'll be in the chat here, people that have been regularly following the channel. You've got the likes of, well, I'm not saying they're regularly following the channel, how big-headed does that sound? But people that have been out there that have been fighting the good fight for a very long time, Tirga Soldier, Philip Dwyer, Dave Cullen, Grant Torino, these guys that are out there, that are the Irish Gate as well too, these guys that are out there that are moving this talking point constantly on their channels, because if they weren't, this would be forgotten about. There'd be nothing done about it. Like, look how they've memory holed Ashling Murphy, by the way. They have totally made the public forget about her. That's why it's important to keep reminding people. Hey guys, Leo Varadkar's going to be Taoiseach in December. Oh yeah, do you remember when he was under criminal investigation? Do you remember when the DPP failed to prosecute him? And what do you think about the fact that he's done what he's done, and you've got a guy there sitting in Mountjoy jail because he's refusing to use a pronoun that's incorrect in a skill? That is also backed, allegedly, by his fate. Like, what a clown world we live in. Clown planet, as Carl Vernon is calling it. How people like the new music videos, by the way, they're going to be coming. They're going to be coming. I think sometimes they're just simple. Another thing I wanted to say as well too, because I felt it was important. I don't think Charles is going to be paying inheritance tax, is he? I think they've already made that statement. There's like no inheritance tax for him over there. How much is he earning? 131 million, is it? All right. And countless and priceless other objects, is it? Yeah. All right. But the average normie's been expected now to be taxed into oblivion, are they? Whilst they look at Kalechi and Xi Jinping moving into gaffs around them, and suddenly there's 40 people there and they're able to buy out the estate. That's very interesting, isn't it? And not only that, then these people coming into the place, getting free stuff, getting citizenship. Something that's been fantastic that we'll talk about here tonight is what the Yanks have just done. The Yanks, chef's kiss, fantastic what they've done. So anyway, new charge for Yusuf Palani accused of double taken out in Sligo. A charge of assault causing harm against Yusuf Palani, who was charged with the taking out of Aidan Moffat and Michael Snee in Sligo. Again, totally forgotten about in the month of June. Didn't make a mention of them at all because that would go against the narrative. Because what it's all about, as you know, is setting up divisions in the future. That's not worked in Sweden. They've tried that. It didn't work. But what they're going to do is they're going to still try the same nonsense everywhere. What they want you to do is they want you to argue with the likes of the gay community, right? The real gay community have now turned on the Transformers. That's happened. That has happened now. And I've been saying for a while, I'm like, wait until the real gay community figure out what's going on over here. And it's not going to be long because a lot of astute people in there that have a lot of time in their hands to be finding out what's going on. And they have. They've realised too, an awful lot of them, that, hey, how come the people that are involved in our community who can't procreate are all of a sudden fascinated with procreation or the lack thereof on the other side? This is something that they're talking about too. And it's great to see that kind of conversation go over there and see them. An awful lot of them would have lefty type of opinions and see them be treated the way we've been treated over the last number of years because now they understand. They're like, oh my God, these people that are on the other side, on the left, they're totally irrational. Yes, you are right. You're completely right. Some people can have liberal views and they can have middle of the road views, but when you're going left, you know that you're going unhinged. Some of this stuff is outrageous. And you see it all the time in the likes of Libs of TikTok as well. They do some great stuff. There was another one there, the Satirical Soldier, hit me up there before I came on. And it's a woodwork teacher in Canada. It's a dude dressed up as a woman. It's Mrs. Doubtfire, and everyone's just there recording. They're just like, look at this. And that's why it's important to record things, in my view. But anyway, what's happened here is the charge has been upgraded. So what it counts as the two men, obviously, that this fella is, do we even say alleged? Do we say that? Yeah, anyway, we'll go with alleged. Okay, effectively, allegedly took out the two guys and very seriously harmed the third. And the third fella gave evidence as well. So this is looking good for a very serious trial. Now, what's going to be interesting is what type of incarceration time this fella gets. Because this should be worldwide news, in my view. And I mean, it's funny to think, no, it's not even funny to think, but it's strange to think, isn't it, how Enoch Burke became a wildfire name across the internet. I mean, every outlet was reporting on him. Crowder got on about it as well too, which was great to see. I'm not going to say it was me that alerted him to that story, but it was great to see that he put that story out there. And you've got the Quarterton that was talking about it and various other people. And I'm sure at some point in time it'll probably hit Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan will get to that at some stage of the game because that he usually does slow burners as opposed to quick ones. Another one as well, Jordan B. Peterson was here in Ireland last week. There wasn't a peep about that in the media. Sure, there wasn't. There was no promotion of him at all, was there? Anyway, looking at this one here, you've got a guy that now should be facing a massive trial along with the guy that took out Ashton Murphy. Can't say Burke there, Enoch Burke on the brand. Ashton Murphy. These should be the hot topics as to what's going on here in this country. Instead, the country is like, no, we want to jail the guy that won't use the they pronoun. Are you serious? This is the same country, by the way, that gave 15 months. 15 months. 1 year and 3 months to Lisa Smith. Seriously. And then they were like, well, you know, when she went over there, she was kind of roughed up a bit. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? How would she be surprised about that? Everybody knew what was going to go down there. Oh, well, she didn't really not. Listen. You're telling me things that are outrageous now. And you've been telling people that, and you've been going with these bad stories for so long that people are starting to catch on. You've got this guy here now We'll see how this goes. You've got the likes of the Irish government along with the American government that are running around after the Kinahans, in my opinion, because of what they possess. These are guys that can't figure out the CSO statistics. They can't figure out the CSO data. They can't figure out the statements, the public ones that have been made by these companies, or the litany of politicians and celebrities that have come out and said, guys, this totally doesn't work, but I'm glad that I have 4 of them at this stage. That means you got 4 nonsense pieces of thing into you. So anyway, I hope this guy gets the maximum sentence. And this is the thing. This is where the difference comes between us and the other side. The other side don't know what to do. There is very little talk about this. And here's the thing. And I know some people would say, when you're mentioning the guys' names all the time, it's important to reference this and important to push this on. You have the left that are not upset about this guy whatsoever. They are not mentioning him. But what they'll do is they'll treat the likes of Satirical Soldier, Philip Dwyer, Dave Cullen, Grant Torino, Tracy O'Mahony, and various others that are out there as if they did this. That's the difference. And all of the people I've just named there are people that want to see a maximum sentence for this guy carried out. If not a deportation, along with the sentence that he should be getting from wherever he originally came from, which I think is Iran. That's how it is. But the left don't want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about the people that they want to wave flags for in June and then totally forget about them when things like this happen. But our side of the fence is like, no, hang on, they took out 2 of our citizens. And not only that, you want to talk about people that are taking out people from certain communities. Here we are here. But no chatter about that at all. So that's what I'm saying to you. And that's the stunning hypocrisy. And that's why it's important to keep pointing it out and say, look at these people over here and what they're supporting and what they're moving towards. And look at the people that are over on this side of the fence that are going, listen, I think you should just live your life and not be messed with. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm good. And anybody that's engaging in like rampant criminality like this one, then you have an issue with them. Know what I'm saying? Very simple. So we've got a couple of things that we'll show here tonight. I wanted to show this one first off, I did, because I think that this is a very good one, and credit to everyone that's put this together. This guy is absolutely huge in Canada, for example, and indeed there's been someone that called out an awful lot of this stuff way before it even happened. One of the guys that would be considered the gym bro, his video went viral, and since then he's been calling it out. This fella here, if you're not familiar with him, Chris, he is someone that has been hounded by the Canadian authorities. Now, think about that for a moment. The Canadian government are a government that shut down people's bank accounts for donating to a trucker protest. That's the same same government that closed down people's bank accounts for that reason. Only was it then that people say, oh, we're not having that. And they withdrew their money from the banks, that the banks get onto the government, which really shows you who's pulling the strings, by the way, and said to him, you better rescind that and stop that now. And he did. So this guy's been an absolute driving force throughout it. It's been fantastic and it's been pretty much so on the ground, because I believe personally, when you see Justin that's over there and him saying, I idolise China, and that was trying to be ushered into Canada, this was one of the very few fellas, and I say very few fellas, but definitely at the beginning, that was speaking up and was being loud about this whole situation. So fair play. And there's Derek Blythe as well too. He's been doing some fantastic stuff. This is a guy that's really putting her on, and I think it's great to see. What I've seen as well too was an awful lot of lads as well. They've gone to these places and they've talked to people now and they've shown them up for what they are. This guy's an average head, and that's what's important about this whole situation. Average heads are the ones that are going out and saying, listen, I think this is bang out of order. You know what I mean? I think it's great. So we've got this here, direct housing action. Guest speakers, 24th of September 2022. Grand Parades, Cork City, 2 p.m. So in Micheál Martin's own county. That's going to be interesting because there's not an awful lot of love for Micheál Martin there. And some people that I've been talking to from Cork have said to me, you think the potholes are bad in Dublin, lad? You'd want to see them in Cork. You could put a 6'6" man into the potholes that are down in Cork, and that's his own county. And I'd say to them, like, do you know what I find strange about that? That's his own county, and he's not interested in keeping, like, having the upkeep of it be any good. Like, he's driven to places, and surely when he's hopping up and down his little Monty Burns heading up and down, little noddy little heading him, going up and down the place in Cork, I'm sure he's not happy about that. That's right, because he's probably flying to these places. He's probably flying through helicopter or plane from one place to the other, so it's not affecting him. Again, the same fella as well that's totally worried about the climate. All these people that are very concerned about the climate. Oh my God, guys, the climate is very dangerous. By the way, they're telling people now that the climate is going to increase people's issues with hearts. Isn't that interesting? Now, we have foretold these things, that they were going to pull out every sort of excuse in the book. to say it's nothing to do with the last couple of years, guys, in particular the last year, when we push stuff out that doesn't look like it works in the first place. And second of all, it looks like it's causing issues around the place. Just as an aside to keep you on the update with the sports, I'm going to do another video of it. The first game of the season there in the Premier League, there was a heart issue or a fan medical emergency, we should say, in the crowd in the Chelsea game. In the Barcelona game there last weekend gone, there was another fan medical emergency in the crowd. That's 2 in one season, and it's only been the second week. So that's going to be an interesting tally come towards the end of the season. I actually think there's going to be more medical emergencies by the end of the season than Darwin Núñez would score goals. Yeah, I said that here right now, right? 16th of the 9th, 2022. I think there's going to be more medical emergencies in crowds than Darwin Núñez is going to score goals. You heard it here first. Maybe even Erling Haaland. We'll see on that one, but he's banging in the goals. So anyway, he's a fantastic striker, by the way. I'd have to say, even though I'm a Manchester United fan, I love that Erling Haaland fella. He's absolutely brilliant. Are you affected by the following? Housing list purgatory, no student accommodation, loss of business, unsafe streets, homelessness, gentrification, urban blight? Join Derek and Co. Derek Ploy, the Telegram. This is a very astute thing to do, by the way, which is put out the Telegram links. Now, what we've seen from the National Party, even because obviously it's very important to point out these things, National Party have been putting out stickers they have, and lefties have gone around and scraped them off. And you've got one there that's even an open representation of communism that's like, we took their stuff down. Okay, well, you're just proving what the guys are saying. They're telling you that these fellas over here, these communist gang are fascists, and you're just doing that. Like, this is the point. That's exactly, you're working into what these guys want, by the way. You're working into what we want very easily, and so do all these politicians. And it's great to see so many people now coming together and so many people putting their minds together and saying this is what they can do. I think it's very, very good, and I think it's important because these people that have had the reins for a very long time don't understand it. They don't understand modern technology, and they're very fearful of the likes of Telegram in particular. They've made a very known fact now that they have the likes of Gardaí, Troll, and these things. And the baseline thing I'd say is this, because some people might say, oh no, the guards are watching. I hope the guards get awakened to what's going on. I mean, that's my point. I keep doing these streams and I'm like, I hope that they wake up to what's going on. I hope they wake up to the way they're being treated, because like they're in the same line that we are. They're being paid, and they're being paid by these people. They're being hit by the likes of the price of things. They're being hit by inflation. They've been put into dangerous situations. You know, if it was my government, it'd be law and order, and these people would be well compensated for what they do. There would be total law and order, and things would be good. And you would also then, in my view, I think I would create, like what they have in Australia, the likes of a deportation force. They would have like the likes of an immigration that would be going around, and that would take the load off the likes of the Gardaí. I could definitely find better ways of spending money than this government currently do. 71 million on the likes of the last 2 years, and 3 billion to import people that are not needed into this country. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's better off spent on different things. Also, it's not well spent on diversity hires, because when the diversity hires turn up to these things, as we'll see in the videos, it doesn't really look good. And I mean, like I said, if you've got a 6'6" dude and he's standing there and you've got a 4'0" female guard, ain't nothing going to be done when the going gets rough. You know what I mean? Not saying it should, and again, disavowing anyone. That's not condoning or supporting any of that. I'm just citing biological facts here. And I mean, putting ladies like that, that's where I come into it. People like to say that you're a misogynist, not that. It's actually chivalrous of me to not want to put a woman in danger. You're putting a woman in danger by putting a woman on the front line at 4'0" there and surrounding a politician that, in my view, should be at the very least in jail. Because this was one of these zero people. These people before prophets were the zero gang. They wanted to lock the whole place down forevermore. People that are very much so interested in communism. People that are flying flags of the Transformers. Now, I'm not talking about Transformers flags that I like to fly, like of Autobot and Decepticons. I'm talking about these other ones. Confuse the cons. Delusion cons. So anyway, this is great to see this, and the promo of this is very, very good. So special guest speaker, world-renowned freedom activist Chris. This fella is great, and it's great to see people linking up. This is the thing, and this is what the machine don't like either, by the way. They don't like that there's so many people linking up and getting together and saying, hang on, you're having problems over in Canada. Yeah. Are they the same ones that are happening in Ireland? Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? What about the Germans? They having the same problems? Yeah. Dutch, French, Australians. That's too much to be a coincidence, guys. That's way too much to be a coincidence. And then you look back at the forum. I've been talking about doing a comic book, by the way, and one of the primary villains that's going to be in the comic book might be a bit of a spoiler. It's going to be a group, and I'll talk about more when I get that comic book up and running. I've seen Satirical Soldiers Art. There might be a bit of a there might be a collaboration in future. We'll see. This is something that I just wanted to show you, by the way. Ninja Knight has been banned off Twitter since November 2021. The account is gone because I said that a football player was a donkey. Now, I could have meant that. I'm not going to say I did, but I could have meant that in a positive way. You know, like donkeys work very hard. They're not very pretty to look at. They're not like a horse. You know what I mean? They're not beautiful. They're not, graced with unbelievable speed and power, but they get the job done. You know, they get hard jobs done. And I was removed from Twitter for calling the fella a donkey. Now, I remember when Dirk Kuyt, is that how you say his name? Dirk Kuyt or Dirk Kuyt? That's how I used to say. Anyway, when he was playing for Liverpool, and people would say he works like a donkey because he wasn't pretty to look at, certainly not. And you know what I mean? He wasn't driven with flair or anything like that, but he worked hard. I suppose that James Milner probably comes into that category there. And I could have meant that in a positive way. I didn't. I actually said that this fella was useless. You know what I mean? So what I just said was he was a donkey. Gone. Gone from Twitter. But this is up here. This fella's account is still up there, by the way, just to let you know. So when people are saying, you're not more in the Queen or anything like that, and you're talking about Charles and Andrew, this fella's out here and he's making these type of statements, and that's A-okay on Twitter, by the way. Now, my thing is this. Freedom of speech is what we're standing for, but what you're saying is a double standard, and this is yet another double standard, because how is this on the platform, and yet I'm not? Know what I'm saying? So James McLean should be live on the telly. Guy is the biggest rat in football. This is still up, but that's all right. You know what I'm saying? And this is what you're starting to see, and that's why it was funny to see Irish Twitter and Black Twitter trending. It actually trended more than The Rock's new movie that's coming out. The Irish. The Rock, by the way, has 16 million followers. I'm going to do a video on this. 16 million followers, and he can't crack 5,000 likes on his new movie that's coming out. Guess that's what happens when you stump for Joe. Isn't that right, Rock? Anyway, this is what you have here on Twitter, but I'm gone when I call a fella a donkey. You know what I mean? It's absolutely scandalous, isn't it? But it just shows you yet again the hypocrisy of the statement. I mean, this fella's actually calling for a very serious thing to happen. Like, here's the situation, right? If you said that about a politician here now in this country, they'd knock on your door. Not the politician. The politician would be too afraid now because they don't have any sort of courage whatsoever, as we quite clearly see all of the time. But you'd get a knock on the door from the old heads there in the uniform, you know what I mean? And that's what's been happening to some people as well that have been on this platform. They're saying things that are common sense, they're gaining the following, and the machine is getting afraid. So what they've done is they've sent people out in uniform, because that's what you're doing, by the way. You wouldn't send people out in uniform to people that you didn't feel were possibly a political threat in the future. And I say political threat because that's what the likes of the government and the media want you to believe. All these people are threatening physical stuff. No, they're not. They're telling you that they want you out of your position, they want you put in jail, and they want to assume those positions. A lot of these people don't want to assume those positions at all. They want to do it reluctantly. And that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between one and the other. You got people here now that would be chosen to be part of the constituency, part of the TDs, part of the councils. They don't really want to do it. That's the very big difference. Meanwhile, you've got these people that are money grabbers that are running into these things that are causing all sorts of havoc. Anyway, we'll keep going. Oh, that's what they're clipping off there. Don't believe that. Here's Ibrahim Halawa, and I just found this during the week, and I said I thought that this was a funny one to find because with all the promo that this fella got over the last number of years, look at what he's up to now. He is a senior specialist where at Meta. Now, what do Meta control at the moment? They control Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. How interesting is that a fella that was involved, is it allegedly, we'll go with allegedly, a fella that was allegedly involved with a very serious organization who was in prison for a number of years, who the Irish government bent over backwards to get into this country, along with Lisa Smith, is now a senior specialist at Meta. He's worked, I think, at Amnesty International as a recruiter, which is very interesting to say the very least. And this is where he's at now. Just think about that for a second. You've got a guy that was accused of very serious things and was in a jail cell in Egypt for 4 years, from what I understand. And this is where he's at now. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And the Irish government bent over backwards to get this guy in, along with Lisa Smith. And yet they're happy to have a man that's actually Irish, sitting in a jail cell in Mountjoy now for over 10 days because he won't use a pronoun. know what I mean? Like, it's clown world stuff. The clown world has just stepped up constantly and consistently. I mean, like Carl Vernon says clown planet, but it's clown land here in Ireland, because I always like to focus on what's going on here in Ireland. Clown land. You can see more of those clown land videos, by the way. I hope you like those. Let me know in the chat as well too if you like the clown land videos. I enjoyed that one. I laughed. As I say, I really did. There's Paul Murphy now. And again, this is for anyone that doesn't know, the reason why you put flags like this, of course, not the Irish flag, not like what I like to put on my bios, the Irish flag, because that's what it means to me. Country is very important, and duty to the country is going to be very important in the future, and I think it's very important now. That's what I believe in. But this is what this fella believes in here. This is the flag of the Transformers. Now, again, like I said, it's not the Autobot or Decepticon flag. It is a different flag here. And this is what this fella is all about. Despite not being, you know what I mean? There's a case to be made. There's a case to be made for the egghead over here. A very big case to be made. This is a fella, by the way, that's out there wearing a mask, okay? After his government, well, I should say, him being part of the government, have pushed out stuff, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. Say, that's totally going to work, guys. And now he's out in the media being like, me and my wife. Are you sure that's your wife? Are you sure about that? Anyway, me and my wife can't conceive. Have you looked at the fertility rates with relation to whatever you took there a couple of times? Because I certainly have, and they don't look good. I'm hearing, by the way, let me know in the chat. And again, this is just from my own personal experience. I know a number of people now that are having problems. And these are people that have had 1 and 2 and 3 kids, and all of a sudden are having problems. That seems a bit strange to me, doesn't it? Seems strange to me that that's happened in the last year or so. People that hadn't had these problems before now starting to have them. Oh, you're being silly. It's because of their age. It's because they've had 3 before, and it's very difficult to do that. Really, I read about a chick there last week from Mexico, and she has 16 kids. Everything seems to be working there. I know plenty of people as well too. Plenty of people when they were growing up as well that had 8, 10, 11, 12 in the family. This didn't just happen all of a sudden that things dried up. You know what I mean? Oh, they're just getting older. People getting old. No, got nothing to do with that. What's it got to do? It's probably got something to do with the last year, no? Would you not agree with that? I certainly would. But anyway, we'll go into Paul Murphy here. I went out to join protesters in front of the Dáil today who are campaigning for redress for apartment defects. That wasn't on the agenda. Absolutely not. Everybody knows that wasn't on the agenda. Everybody knows that it was a protest against the government. That's why the government put up barriers, by the way. They didn't put up barriers because people were looking for redress from a campaign for apartment defects. That's not happening. What did you think was going to happen? People were going to descend from the apartments like fucking the favelas or something like that and say, oh, right, we're going to take it over here. That wasn't done for that reason. They put out barriers because they were afraid. They put out the barriers they did because there was a massive campaign saying to lock them in. That's why they put the barriers up there. So for you there to say that you're going there for apartment defects, everybody knew that wasn't true, what you've just said here. And if you didn't know that, well, more fool you. And this is a guy that's a TD. But this is the beauty of the likes of the internet and Twitter is people are looking at situations and statements like this and they're saying to themselves, sure, that doesn't match up at all. I mean, this is like a Liverpool fan going to a Manchester United game and wearing a Liverpool jersey with the home crowd and going, I didn't know that the crowd were going to be against me. Are you shitting me? Like, it's simple as that. I know Paul didn't play any sports throughout his life or anything like that. I know sports is a very easy way to describe these things, but that's the fact of the matter. You rolled into town here thinking everyone's going to be on your side, and you got met down with vitriol, and in my opinion, rightfully so. And you were fortunate to only be met with vitriol in the form of words. Like, you don't understand how civil the Irish people are. They are extremely civil to be keeping a cap on it the way they are. Because I tell you what, in the likes of an Islamic country there, we've already seen it with Afghanistan, they ain't that civil. We've seen it in Sri Lanka, by the way. They ain't that civil. They weren't worried about people calling them mean names. Not at all. Not at all. So, he said he was surrounded by a crowd of far-right activists, of course, because you can tell people that are in the far-right there just from what they're shouting at you. Anyway, this is the type of thing that they like to throw out here. The radical left like to do this all the time. Oh my God, they're far-right. The women and the men that are there are all far-right. I'm sure they have different views, you know what I'm saying? Oh my God, because they oppose me, they're far-right. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I got down the plastic paddy there during the week. I don't think he fully agrees with me politically, but you can have a civil discussion with the man. Like, the man was talking about, like, I voted for Barack. And I'm like, yeah, that's grand. Up to you. But he done negative things, hasn't he, in the future? And has done so at the time. And he's like, yeah, no, I see that. And then his wife, or his partner at the very least, because she's actually black, and she was like, I'm voting for Trump. Like, you're joking me. And I'm like, these are the same people that they like to throw accusations at. You know what I mean? And people that are there going, I'm voting for Trump. And they're the exact opposite of what the media like to portray. Anyway, the same is here. Remember the day as well, too, there was people protesting outside Leo Franker's house, and they're like, I can't believe the vanilla supremes that were outside the house. I'm like, no, there's a black fella that's over there, and there's an Indian guy that's over there, and multiple women, by the way. So I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't. Activists shouting in my face and with one kicking me. Now, that has yet to be released on film. That has not happened, in my opinion, because that has not come out at all. Now, in a world that you live in with various technologies and indeed Gardaí being present, if he was kicked. Now, we're going to see Breed Smith now in a moment, or is it Breed or Breed Smith? Absolute dummy. This was a woman that came out and stumped for George, St. George of Machete, as I like to call him. Came out and stumped for him, she did, and was bamboozled on the likes of Facebook with the comments that she got back towards her. People were disgusted. They were like, what? You're supporting a violent criminal that shouldn't have been in this country in the first place. And he was after breaking up a fella around, allegedly, from what we understand now, because the media are going, he didn't actually break him up. From what I heard, he broke a fella's jaw. And then the community in the area then went to that shop and were hoarding abuse at the white people inside of it. Then that community were parked outside the Garda station for 2 weeks, causing mayhem, closing down the street, telling the Gardaí they were going to get at them and trying to break into the Garda station, and nothing done. This is what I'm going to show you now in a few moments when you see how handsy some of the Gardaí are with some of the people that are at this protest. Why is that not being applied across the board? And more people are starting to see that now. And you can actually see some people, I believe anyway, in uniform that are totally uncomfortable with the situation that happened. But it takes them to stand up to it and say, you're bang out of order. Even if it's a superior officer. See the likes of superior officers, judges, politicians, these people, oh, he's king now. Listen, 2 months ago, you were taking a mick out of me aware. That's just some dude. He does the same thing as you and me. He eats and he shits. He's the same as you and me. So this is what's been understood by people now. They're starting to look at titles and say, that means nothing. He's a commanding officer. Oh, the commanding officer is a muppet. So you're going to have to say to them, hey, listen, that's bang out of order. And you might get some reprieve. But again, these people are all in presence of this protest. And you were telling me if you were kicked, first of all, he came out since then. And this is just to dispel what this absolute liar is talking about. He went to the media. I was kicked. Well, you're making a Garda report? No. Okay, well then what you're saying is not true, because why not make a Garda report? There's countless amounts of CCTV around the area, which we all know. And there were countless Gardaí around the area, and a lot of people that have filmed it. Leanne Curtis, that was be here in the chat, was allegedly there. I'd say allegedly, speculatively. And allegedly, speculatively, has an awful lot of footage that counters what Paul is saying. So there's a very good, I would say, even acid test as to how things are going in this country. With an awful lot of people, the Irish get included, responded to this going, shows the footage of you being kicked there, Paul. It's not come out. So he's making a statement, he's making a claim, he's trying to demonize people rather than listen to them. And these people actually were right to be angry, and they're right to be speaking to him the way he is. Some people saying, well, that's not civil and that's not respectful. It's done. It's over. You have to understand that these people were pushing for what's going on right now. You've got people in businesses now that are telling you that I have to pay a 71,000 bill for the likes of energy. Show me when you see that story, it's down here below. I'll show you now in a moment. 71 grand for an electricity bill. Because the likes of Paul Murphy was like, shut it all down. Go on. Anyway, this is a banger of a quote here from Ronald Reagan. And I mean, this is a guy, again, the old boy was talking to me not too long ago. And he says, he was sitting looking at some old Reagan speeches. And he says, oh, he's sitting there, and he says, I was just chilling now. I'm just looking at him, he's sitting there, and he says, Reagan just said, make America great again. And the outflow just said to me, we actually started up, he was like, I couldn't believe it. He said, because that's exactly says what Teflon Don started to say over the last number of years. And it's funny how these things repeat, aren't they? Funny how the same thing that's happening here. And Reagan was spot on. Now, this is a guy, in my view, that's seeing it from every angle that you could. He's seeing Hollywood and he's seeing what way that was going. He's seeing how they do things. He's seeing how they control people's opinions and made up narratives. Like you've got the mainstream media, the fake stream are out there now trying to harass Gina Carano because she made a movie called My Son Hunter, right? They're harassing her like none before. These are even outlets that claim to be feminists that are attacking a woman. You know what I'm saying? Because they're afraid. Because if you have media out there in movies, listen, I'm not saying the movie's Oscar worthy or anything like that. I'm not saying it's the best movie I've ever seen of all time. But the very least is that they're putting these things out. Because on the other side of the fence, you have Olivia Wilde coming out making a comment saying that Chris Pine is based on the villain performance of Jordan B. Peterson in the new movie. That's way over the line. And by the way, Chris Pine never stated that. Olivia Wilde actually said that. That's where we're going. Also, Marvel Comics as well too wanted to put Jordan Peterson's words into the mouth of Red Skull. So, you know what I'm saying? This is how these people are using entertainment. So when people are saying, well, don't put these things in entertainment, it's gone that way. Don't put politics in my entertainment. Well, they're putting all left politics in the entertainment and get rid of it. Salty did a great video, by the way, on the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid now has 1.5 million dislikes on YouTube. Just think about that. 1.5 million dislikes. Why? Because Disney decided to cast someone that doesn't look like Ariel, the Little Mermaid, and people finally had enough. Not only did they not cast someone that doesn't look like Ariel, they actually cast a woman as well too that is unattractive. In my view, if you were going to cast Ariel, there was a perfect contender out there in the chick who played Sansa Stark. Maybe she can sing, maybe she can't, but she at the very least looks like Ariel. Know what I mean? What's her name? Can't think of her name. She's with one of those fellas as well too. One of those little weirdo fellas, the Jones brothers, really. She's with one of them weirdos. Anyway, Ronald Reagan, bang on the money here. If someone among you fear taking a stand because you're afraid of reprisals from customers, clients, or even government, recognize that you are just feeding the crocodile, hoping he'll eat you last. He's on the money now because look at all the hotels. We'll see some of the stories down below. The hotels, the bus coaches, the little knick-knack shops. All of these people that are saying, we can't pay our bills now. Well, did you have the Ukrainian flag in your profile? Did you? Did you support the last 2 years? Did you harangue and harass people in and out of your shops? That's why. And we told you that's what they were going to do. So they're just getting you now. This is something that I'm going to highlight as well. I'm going to highlight this in the video for sure because this is what's happening in Britain. Now, important to note that there's still a massive movement going on in Britain, and it's very important to see what they do along with the French and the rest of Europe because you see, this is the short-sightedness of the likes of our government. You want to attune to Europe? Sound, because that's what's going to happen. More people are going to look at what they're doing. They've seen what Austria did. They've seen what the likes of Britain did and various other countries down when they said, nah, we're not having any of this tyranny. And everyone linked in and said, oh, they're doing it over there. Sound, that's great. And now you've got this here. I hope this goes ahead, and I hope this is one that's going to catch on because I think this is something that's caught on as well in Italy. And I think I've seen it in one of the Scandinavian countries also where they were born in bills. They were outside the government buildings and some of them outside the likes of their version of ESB. By the way, I have another story here as well. Panda Power are now leaving the Irish market. So in essence, there's going to be a serious monopoly here in this country. That is very negative. And again, people seem to think that the likes of these people that are running the show are going to sort things out. The artists, they're just happy to see your money continue to being taken away from you. Like, that's very apparent. Fianna Fáil want your money gone. Fine Gael are talking about your money being gone. I mean, here's the thing. The Inheritance Tax Commission, well, I mean, I should say the commission that was set up by Fine Gael. It was set up by Pascal Donoghue. So this is the type of things that these Muppets think that people don't know. I'm after getting a message there a couple of days ago as well too, and it was about they want to tax pizzas and road usage and the distance and all that, all this climate shit, right? Along with then people enjoying pizzas and all that. This is this commission that was set up by Pascal Donoghue, so Pascal Donoghue can point and go, the commission, they were the ones that actually said to me, Pascal Donoghue, that they had to put the taxes onto these things. I mean, imagine a fella like that speaks like that being a leader in government. That's why he's not a leader of the party anyway, because people take the mickey out of him. I mean, take the mickey out of the other fella as is. I mean, can we even say literally on that one? Literally. But anyway, that's why he's not leader of the party, because, I mean, imagine him. Like, you think Joe was bad, this fella be out there going, I don't think this is how we do things. In my view, I've always thought, I mean, someone there's 71 people in the chat, you might get a couple of people leaving now. I always thought people that spoke about like that, I always thought, you're one of two things. You either one, we're keeping your forked tongue behind your teeth there, and that's why you make that sound. Or the second thing, no further comment. So anyway, Pascal Donahue was telling people, if the commission over there that's recommending these things, you set up the commission now. You're the one that's actually put your name to that. And you've put up a woman there that doesn't look very healthy nor happy herself. I mean, she looks like something you'd see out of Tales from the Crypt Keeper. She looks like the Crypt Keeper she does over there. You know what I mean? These people all have the look of Schmeagol Gollum, don't they? It must be just the general evil that these people surround themselves with. Because anybody that I see that's on our side is all healthy as fuck. And not only is that, some of them are more than healthy anyway. But you've got way more people that are on this side of the fence that are looking good. That's what I keep doing, by the way, on Instagram. Keep sharing reels as well, too, of models. And I'm like, this is definitely not a lefty woman. Look at this chick, what she's wearing. Satirical Soldier was hitting me up and being like, yeah, listen, you're under money there. So anyway, 161,732 people. By the way, we still have 71 people in the chat, so nobody that's affected by the Pascal Donahue stuff. So good stuff anyway. Have pledged to strike on October 1st. So providing your email, you consent to receive a strike update news there. They're saying about don't pay the electricity and gas bills now come October 1st. And what we're seeing now as well is very clever stuff that's people getting organised. And to me, I think that's what's needed to happen in various different countries. And obviously here's where I care about most. I mean, I really don't care about anywhere else, but I like to take ideas and influences from other places if what they're doing is working. Because the government can't keep rolling on doing what they're doing if not going to pay. It's like this, and it's very simple to equate it like this. You've got, at the moment, Hasbro, as I like to say, and Marvel Legends. They've released there today now a $350 item, which is a Ghost Rider item, and not an awful lot of people want it. It's up to the people to say, nah or yeah. Now, previously, what's happened with Hasbro, they put out the Rancor, they put it out for the same price, $350, didn't come at much, and people said no, and it failed. So they had to then move on. They had to do something completely different to try and get people on board. Done Reva's lightsaber, failed, because people were like, nah, I don't want that either. So now the Hasbro team, the Star Wars team, were very much so being looked at and being like, should we be getting rid of them because they've done 2 failures now. And that's the same thing here. If people don't pay any of these bills, then these people have to do something about it, because if you keep paying, they're just going to keep increasing. And there's a lot of people that are out there that are working jobs that are not paying an awful lot, that are very much so struggling. And I'm puzzled as to why there is anger amongst them, but the organisation isn't there. I mean, you've got people in the likes of the media, and I mean, it's great to see Gript pick up on it as well also, which is talking about the likes of Trinity College students sending leaflets around to houses asking people for a spare room. Take your campus back. DCU, take your campus back. UCD, take your campus back. Refuse to pay fees for the year, because the college will absolutely brick it then. They get those people moved on. And here's my suggestion as well, because you're seeing the Yanks do it. The likes of people driving coaches and that, when your coach business is going out, if you're being told to cart people that are invading the country around the place into hotels, cart them on up there to where Micheál Martin is and the likes of Helen McEntee. They're the people who invited them in. That's what's happening now in Martha's Vineyard. Yanks are just going, do you want to bring these people in? Right, they're up to Martha's Vineyard now. And Martha's Vineyard's panicked because these people are just floating around the area. Know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on. And waiting to see the movement that's going to happen now in relation to that. The likes of Texas, Florida, they're carting these people all the way up to the likes of Washington, D.C. and New York and just leaving them off. Go on there, lads, and hang around that constituency, by the way. Pandemonium. So that's interesting to see what's happening there. This is a beautiful meme. Look at that. This is absolutely wonderful. I love that. The Chad here, the Chad. Now, again, obviously, he's taking the mickey out of this fella here over here that's talking about, I was kicked. No video footage exists of that, though. And no complaint made to Gardaí. Unlikely. Sky News Australia. Again, Sky News Australia are way down in my estimation with the way they cover this Queen stuff, by the way. They want to simp over it and they want to say things about Meghan Markle. I'm like, I think I might be on the side of Meghan Markle now, guys. They wanted to drag Shamrock Rover supporters for singing what they sung. And I was like, no, you should know more than anybody. And that just shows me as well, too, who is really in charge of Sky News Australia, because the Sky News Australia put out some good based stuff, but ultimately they come back to the nonsense and they won't acknowledge, the 2 lads or anything like that and who they were friends with. Oh, that's got nothing to do with who they're friends with. Listen, it does. It has everything to do with it. And says an awful lot about you if you don't want to charge them with the friendships that they keep. Anyway, climate change, an oil now on mental condition. Sky News host Andrew Bolt says doubting climate change is becoming a mental condition. This is what I'm saying to you about Sky News Australia. Now, you're going to say to me, as well as you will, and as well as I always do, these are all the same. They're all the same. They're all pushing the stuff wherever they can. And I mean, it's even recently there, you had an Irish woman, Orla Coughlin was her name, that was on with Piers Morgan, a lefty that decided to spray Big Ben with paint nonetheless. And I was like, oh no, it's not only a lefty, it's a woman. And oh no, it's an Irish woman as well. Oh, well done. You're representing the nation very well there. Anyway, this is a woman that wasn't in jail, by the way, for spraying Big Ben, which I thought was very strange. And I mean, you know yourself, and it's not that strange when you're defacing the national monument there in Britain. But anywho, you've got this woman that's over there, and she then fires back at Piers after he makes a fool over by saying you eat almonds and you eat the likes of, what was the other thing that he said? Not guacamole. What are those things? The avocados. That's what's made with guacamole. Anyway, he says, you eat those, don't you? And she was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, 7 million bees are taken out. Or 7 million or 7 billion. It was one or the other. Anyway, it was a large number to be saying the very least. He's like, what about the little guy? And she was like, but do you believe in the climate? And he's like, yeah. Listen, George Carlin said it best, and I'm going to paraphrase here. You had the likes of the dinosaurs that walked around this world, walked around this land for a very long time. And he's like, and you think, he says, little dipshits that are running around the world now are going to sort this out by giving more money to the government. You are a complete and utter fool. You think that people have any sort of influence on this whatsoever, you're badly mistaken, because are they shutting down the textile factories in the likes of China and India and these places? No. They're not interested in that. They're interested in taking every penny they can off you to fight the weather. Absolute ridiculousness. And when it comes down to it, that's what it's about. And I'll tell you this, over the summer, I've seen a number of planes go up into the sky and let off some very specific looking stuff. And suddenly the weather did seem to shift and change. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happened, but I'm just saying, keep an eye on that next summer when you see a clear sky and you see planes up in the air. And it seems like they're doing a couple of different drops there. Seems weird. But anyway, Sky News Australia, very much so, showed their hand last couple of weeks. Look at that. Satirical Soldier, I mean, oh my God, fantastic work. He's done some brilliant stuff. He did a fantastic one. I can't show, this is how it is. I can't show the Helen McEntee one here. I can't, it's that good. I can't show it because there's a certain symbol on it. And by the way, that certain symbol on it has been put onto the faces of posters in Italy of politicians that called for all these things. Just as an aside, I'm not saying, I'm not supporting or not condoning anybody putting those symbols onto people's posters. I'm just making a comment as to that's what the Italians did. But look at that. That's a banger. I've been wondering where Satirical Soldier's been getting some of his thumbnails from. He's been drawing them himself. Savage stuff. There you go. That's an Irish politician there, and he's surrounded by yeah. There you go. Can't do enough. You know, your man's throwing out the old signs there. Oh, what's up, G? So anyway, happy as Larry anyway. Been well looked after under the Irish taxpayer. Look at this one over here as well too. I'm happy to be here. Look at me. I'm here in my raincoat. Oh, look at these guys. Anyway, that's a real case of like, hey everybody, look at me. So anyway, we'll have a look at this. This is Brid Smith. This is absolutely brilliant. And I mean, again, they've got people out here that have just had enough, and they've had enough of these politicians. I'm sure that the lefties here, the radical left, were thinking to themselves, oh, shit. You know, they thought it was going to be a handy one that they were going to be welcomed in here with people. That ain't happening. And the same thing is going to end up happening with the likes of Sinn Féin, because a lot of people aren't awake to them. I was talking to a couple of Shinners recently, and they were like, think the time is now to change the country. And I went, yeah, Sinn Féin won't do that. And they're like, oh. And just give me 1 second there. What do you think they're going to do? Oh, they'll get out of the EU. Oh, will they? Yeah, okay. What else do you think they're going to do? They're going to look after the Irish people, will they? All right, yeah, okay. Yeah, have a look at that there. And I just showed them the picture of Sinn Féin there that were bending the knee to buy large mansions. And there you go. What do you think of that one? Yeah. And they're just looking at you and you're going, let's scroll on there. There's Paul Donnelly there as well too, by the way, telling people not to be sharing a video of St. George of Machete. You know, that's not great, is it? And then here's Sinn Féin as well too, stumping for Cuba of all places, telling the Cubans that they were well and truly under a very bad regime And guess what? That's the same party that were telling you that you need to lock your business and all of that sort of stuff down. What do you think about that? Think that's great, all right. What about the EU? Yeah, they're happy to remain the EU. Who's going to fix the housing? Ono Brun, the Harry Potter look-alike? All right, okay, I don't think so. Did you know that his spouse is Lynn Boylan? Did you know that? Did you know that? All right, that's very nepotistic, isn't it? Anyway, these people just look at you and they don't know what to do. And by the way, here's the humdinger of all there, guys. We've got the Mary Lou McDonald in the Croke Park, and there she is there with people celebrating a fete in our national stadium that is not native to this country, nor is it wanted. If they want to do what they want to do, which is they would like to outbreed the population, and then they like to then impose themselves upon these different places. You've seen it happen in Britain, by the way. So anyone that wants to say it's not going to happen here, yeah, we've seen it in Britain, we've seen it in Sweden. So you're talking absolute codswallop there. And not too long ago, they wanted to do it here in France. And again, they're having very big problems in France. So what do you think about that? She's celebrating that there. And then, by the way, here's Mary Lou there in June. And she's walking around with a crowd that other crowd vehemently don't like. That's hypocritical, isn't it? It's part of the game. They have to play all of the angles. I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. However, why would you align yourself with nonsense? Why would you do that? Because that just gives off a bad look altogether. It's bad optics. And they've gone all in on this stuff. Well, I think that they're the only change. Listen. There ain't nobody in that government at the moment that's going to change anything. Nobody. Ain't nobody going to be there. You got Mighty McGrath that's going to make a big noise. You've got a couple of other people that are in there that are making noise. That's it. Next election comes around, you need way more independents in there that are going to make serious noise. And no better noise to be happening than the likes of this here. This is an absolute career ender here for Brid Smith. Is she wearing Crocs, by the way? Anyway. So there you start the video off there, by the way, with Brid pointing her face there. You little plebeian, don't you be talking to me. People before profit. So you're supposed to listen to the people, but you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to point your finger your sausage finger into the face of someone else there. Just as an aside as well too. You know, a lot of the ladies that appear at these things, you know, good looking ladies. So you've got Brid Smith here that's going to point the finger into the face of someone here that's very aggrieved as to what she's been doing, you know, putting her in danger. And I mean, here's the thing. You routinely talk about with people as well too, people that live in Tallaght, people that live in various sort of communities around the country, particularly here in Dublin. And I'm talking about the rise in crime and indeed the incidents that happened the snow day that time with the JCB, and it seemed certain characters were involved in that. That's daily occurrences that are happening in Tallaght, in Balbriggan, and various other places around the country. And these people are all like, you can't say that about them. So you can't bolster that with statistics and facts, and just look at what's happened in America as well too. Like, you know what I mean? We're not saying everyone's bad here, but we're saying the immigration policy is very bad. And these people seem to be given houses here, whilst people that fall in hard times, the house have been taken off and they're going onto the street. I'm saying, look after your own force is the mantra. Now, here's the perfect thing about this video, and what I love about this video is this. We'll just get a nice little shot here now, I suppose. This one. They're all women. This is the beauty of this. These are all women heckling her. That's fantastic, because now it's thrown the narrative. This is why Brid Smith couldn't come out. I was attacked by misogynists. No. You were verbally talked to by you were spoken to by women that feel unsafe in their own country, women that are going to be more unsafe in their own country, and women that are now being forced to work due to the likes of you, rather than being at home and minding families is what they could have been doing, because in the past one wage was able to come home, and women by and large, the studies prove it, are far happier at home. Here's the thing. That 1950s versus modern women video that went out there is an absolute peach of a video, because if you gave women the option, and I'm sure most would, if you were able to be provided for, have a nice secure home and be at home and indeed spend most of the day doing that and doing things on your own time, you would be far happier. The stats prove that. This is not what's happening though. You're being forced into a workforce here to get something onto the line and then to be able to pay for childcare by people that are not related to you. And this is the end result here. People just unbelievably unhappy. And when people are talking about return to the 1950s, return to the 1950s because they're seeing what's happening now. And women, by and large, this is a big myth, by the way, with a lot of people when they're saying the feminists and the suffrage movement. A lot of women, when they introduced the vote and all that, didn't want that. And they didn't want that because they were, mind controlled. They didn't want it because of all of the responsibilities that came with it. The possibility of having to be called up. I mean, I'm sure as well, if you talk to a woman in the 1950s, you want to be part of the defence forces, they'd be looking at you and laughing at you. They'd be like, what? Why would you want to be part of that for? Why would you want to be on the front lines? Why would you want to be pumping life at risk here? You know what I mean? Why would I want to be part of the fire service? I'm going to be trying to carry these things up here and not going to be able for it. Like, all of these things, and then the likes of tax and everything like that, you're going to be taxed to the bone. And then you're not going to be happy then as well. You're going to work in a job that you don't really like to just make ends meet, to then do the jobs that you're originally doing back at home. And you're going to be unhappy. So this is what this is. This is a reflection of this. Now, what I'm saying is I'm making a comment about that. I'm not saying all of these women feel like that, but I'm certainly thinking that the reason why they're upset with this woman is because of the unsafety. I mean, look at this here. I mean, instead of listening and doing what a politician should do, this is panic, I think, with Brid Smith, because Brid Smith understands now that here's the thing. You know what I think, and you know what I think about the elections here in this country now, especially when you look at what happened in America. I was like, holy moly. They've done that in front of everybody across the entire world with the internet. What have they been doing over the last 20 years at the very least? You know what I mean? And this is how people can't understand. And something as well, I think actually Gript even have been highlighting for the last number of years. They're like, how come people before profit who have like a minute amount of votes and a minute amount of supporters, they keep getting television time? Like, I think there's not been a month that's gone past that Paul Murphy hasn't been on the likes of the Virgin Media shows as well. This, what's that, Politics Tonight or something like that. Anyway, there hasn't been really a month that's gone by. So why is someone that's a minute part of the government out there making comments? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't. And when you start to apply that logic, then that's why there's panic now starting to happen here. Because if they do decide to do things for the favour of the likes of people before profit, which they just done for the Greens, again, keep talking to people, keep asking them, did you vote for the Greens? Do you know anyone that voted for them? The more people you ask, the more acid tests you start to get as to who did. And this is what you're saying here. But like I said, the important point to note is here. Now, again, look at this woman here, she's like, holy moly. Anyway, what you're starting to see here now is an inability to control the narrative because it was women that surrounded her. You know what I'm saying? So that's the stark difference. Now, you see her then end up going to the Gardaí. These would be the one. This is what's mind blowing, by the way. The Gardaí protecting these people. By the way, Gardaí, you're the same people that these people wanted very serious investigations into when you clipped St. George and Machete. The likes of me was the only person amongst other people that were out here that were like, listen, you're right to clip him. 100%. Absolutely. And you'd be right to clip anybody that was in a certain circumstance like that. That's not just looking at one person. Anyone that's in that circumstance, you're right to clip them. In going forward, though, when you start to see people see what you've done in this video, it's not good for you in terms of people giving you backing and support, because you're still being paid, you're still being hit by inflation, you're still being mistreated. And the fact that you want to go down with the sinking ship is very telling, because how can you be someone that pulls on the uniform every day and walk into the job, realise what Neil O'Neill has done and various other people there in the government, and decide then to harangue and harass people that are saying, listen, this is outrageous, this is way out of hand. There's people out here that are at this protest, by the way, that are paid €500 every 2 weeks. How are they living? How are they surviving? And that's what you're actually creating that. You're going to create way more problems, because more people are going to look at this and the current situation, and more people are going to turn towards criminal activities. It's sense. Like, if you have someone that's working in the likes of a Tesco and they've been taxed to the hilt and they're saying, not doing this anymore. Like, I understand. I totally get that. So you got to stop. You really do. Now, she's assaulting me. How? That's a lie, and that's a lie that's been captured and caught on video. So this is why I'm going back to what Paul Murphy said. That's a lie that she's just told to a member of the police, and the policeman acknowledges it and looks after it rather than going, "You're talking absolute mumbo jumbo there. You're just being spoken to. You're spoken to in a manner that you don't like by people that are very much so on the breadline, very much so struggling to make ends meet, whilst you're on a TD's wage there. At the very least, 108,000 a year with expenses. So, if you think this is assault, this is what the left do. This is what they're at. They like to class people saying things to them as assault. And this is why you're seeing a very dangerous shift from these people. These people are dangerous. They are unhinged, the left. Very unhinged and very dangerous. Because you had the likes of Paul Murphy that went on to radio the following day, from what I understand, that was allegedly calling for a ban of people that didn't have the same views as him. Now that's very, very dystopian, and that's very authoritarian. And you'll have someone like that, but you're calling for banning the Green Party, 100%. I'm calling for a ban of that. I don't think that party should be in operation. I don't think anybody that wants to try and tax people out of a living and tax people to the brink because of the weather should be a party. I don't think that should be happening whatsoever, because you're talking nonsense. It's not backed by stats, facts, and our science. And it doesn't work. And not only that, these people that want to talk about the Green Party, the biggest hypocrites of all time, driving around in diesel jeeps, driving around in petrol fuel cars, flying around to the different places in the world. Total codswallop, total liars. Know what I mean? But these people, on the other hand, want to stifle people, and that's communism. That's fascism. That's what you're seeing right here is fascism, in my opinion. She's assaulting you. She's speaking to you. And this is the difference. And this is what a left-wing government are doing. This is a left-wing country run by left-wing people, and it's increasing. So when you see people that are getting agitated, they're getting angry, this is why. Because they're not being spoken to, they're not being listened to. People like Brid there are blocking people on the likes of Facebook and various different social media apps. That's why there's so little likes and comments on their posts to keep blocking people. Sinn Féin do it all the time, by the way. And what you're seeing now is the end result of that now, where people have been blocked through emails and on social media, and they're seeing them in the street now. That's what you've caused. That's what you've done. So, again, it's interesting stuff. That's a lie. That's actually, is that not slander? And again, the end result of what this woman wants is for this fella to go and arrest this woman for speaking to her. You know what I'm saying? So, again, the same uniform that these people wanted to spear on not too long ago and say that they shouldn't have been doing a full and open, transparent investigation into St. George and Machete. Again, same thing. Run to us, guys, every single time. These are the defund the police gang. Defund the police. Okay, that's going to work out well, because it's going to be the Wild West then. Know what I'm saying? And not only that then, but you don't want ordinary citizens being able to look after themselves, which is another problem that you have in this state now. And you think that the bad guys aren't going to collect things, and you think that the bad guys that are coming here and that are already here aren't going to have things, you're sorely mistaken. You've got Albanians that are out there. You want to see what these people do. Like, they make the gangs that are here look like choir boys. These people that do you over nothing. Like, people don't seem to realise this. They don't seem to understand that the people that these people are importing are seriously dangerous. Not all of them, but some of the gang members of them are very dangerous. So, as well, this is another thing that they're banging on about in the media as well too. People don't have boomsticks. They're not allowed to have boomsticks. Boomsticks are going to be a necessity going forward, because when you're importing so many people and having no security checks, and these people don't mind picking up boomsticks and using them, serious problem on your hands. this response, I think that's funny as well too. Anyway, your man's laughing anyway because he knows what's going on, I suppose. But look at the response here as well. A number of people here invest now to look like there's a big problem. See, they got the footage and they get the images as well of people being unhappy, but no sort of response that was given when Gardaí ran away in Blanchardstown when they were confronted by a gang that were out there, peacefully demonstrating, of course, by attacking people for St. George of Machete. Scarpered very quickly. Seem to be nowhere near as well too when the going gets tough with the likes of the Roma that are running around town or any of the people that have been running around town doing problems that don't seem to be Irish or anything like that. Not going to have that response there at all, guys, Right, the bottom line is this: the Gardaí should be on the other side of they should be on the other side there with the people and going, yeah, no, we agree with you here because we're in the same boat. You know what I mean? Now I know that's not going to happen, but this video, I saw the Brid Smith video first, right? Well, actually, I'll tell you a lie. I saw the video that came out initially of the Gardaí manhandling people, and I said to myself, I was like, here we go. Like, these people are just way out of line in terms of the Gardaí, and specifically one, we'll have a look at them now in a few minutes. But these videos then emerged, and I was like, awesome. Because the Gardaí were manhandling people, they were, and these people were just talking at the politicians. So the disconnect is there. And I mean, this is this material for days. I mean, I've been putting videos up about this. This is great material because you're like, here's a Gardaí manhandling people that are protesting outside their government buildings, our government buildings, ones that we own, that's ours in Ireland. And you're manhandling people there and threatening people. And then these people are standing around accurately stating, in my opinion, speculatively, allegedly, these people that openly, by the way, support these things on the likes of Twitter are calling them for what they are. So seeing that video, I was very dismayed and very disappointed in An Garda Síochána because, like I said, I'm all for law and order. And then I seen these two videos and I was like, I like this because this definitely goes against the narrative when you've got the Gardaí manhandling people and then you've got people that are talking at this. And that's why the Paul Murphy kick situation comes out, because that's another tactic to then take the eye off the manhandling situation. You know what I'm saying? Because then people very quickly then link the three videos together and go, protesters being manhandled there for telling people this is outrageous. Brid Smith being confronted looking to have people arrested and claiming that they assaulted her by talking to her. And Paul Murphy then doing what he did here and then coming out and saying, people kicked me. That's a total lie. On my view, this is the type of reception that Micheál Martin should have been getting in pennies in the square in Tallaght. Now, what's important about this video is to watch Paul's reaction, because Paul doesn't understand what's happening. He is very nervous because he's not someone that's usually confronted like this, and it results in something that's very, very telling in my view. But what you'll see a nervous smirk, because whilst he talks a big game, and again, the same thing with all these lefties, they talk a big game, they talk tough on the likes of Twitter, and that's why they've, that's why they've resorted to the likes of this information, as I keep saying, the information side of things, rather than, like, you see these people all the time in America behave the way they do and talk at people because they know themselves in a kinetic situation. Again, I'm not advocating or supporting a kinetic situation, and I'm disavowing kinetic situations. But these people know in a kinetic situation, it's not going to work. So that's why they reverted to telling people they're mean. The words that they use are mean, and they don't like them. And that's why they then aim towards going at people's jobs, their livelihoods. That's what they did with Gina Carano, and they've done it with various other people. James Woods being another one, Kevin Sorbo being another one. And that's what they're trying to do as well to the owner of Gab. That's what they do because they know in their heart of hearts that people don't agree with them. And the only way that they can get it by is by silencing people and by having nothing to do with it and trying to call people names. I mean, these are in my view, when you look at the left are never people that you would say, and that's why I keep saying you wouldn't pick them in a five-side. They're never someone that's played to a high sporting level or degree. Now, that's not to say that some of the lefties that are in there haven't done that, but certainly people like this don't understand sports. They haven't been involved in it. So they don't understand what it's like to be a proper, man, in my view. And that's why the likes of a Paul Murphy, I'm sure when he was at school, he'd have been the little fella down the back of the class making snide comments. And you'd get the fella then that was involved in the likes of the GAA team or the soccer team or the basketball team would wait till PE. And they'd wait. And that's where they would have words. And this is why you're saying now, you're starting to see him revert back to being in school and starting to revert there to people getting in his face. And he's like, oh no, I was happy to type this behind a keyboard, but when reality is in tune here, it's not good. That's the tell. 25 seconds in, put the mask on. Now, there's a lot to unpack from that. Because he's now cowered to people. So he's taken a step back. He's backpedaled. Now, just to put that out there, right? Just think about that. This is an oppositional TD that has backpedaled to a group of people that are saying mean things to him. Mask is on. Is that you? Now, look, there's a lot to unpack from this. What he's doing subconsciously is, I don't want any more people to recognize me here, and I don't want anybody shouting more abuse at me, because he's not the only person that does it. You'll see the other fella now that does the same thing, is to lessen this abuse. And when I say abuse, accurate statements is what I mean. Strike that from record abuse. What I'll say is accurate statements that are made towards this fella. Also, what he's doing is, and now again, this might be just my way of thinking, what he's trying to do is, with the smirking and the snarling that he was doing there a few moments ago, particularly the smirking and sneering, he's trying to make out that these people are dirty. Now, that might be a subconscious thing, or that might be an overt thing that he's doing. And that says an awful lot about what he thinks about the electorate too. And then to just unpack the final thing, if you think an oppositional TD, a TD, like you think of the TDs that were there when the Dáil was first started, you think they'd do something like this? You know what I mean? And you think that a guy like this, if he was to hold a position of power, is going to be going into the big boys and telling them what's what? Absolutely not. And we keep seeing this. We keep seeing people without any Lee Rowdy going into these positions, and you're saying, how? And that's why Ireland's been walked over and told what to do by Z Germans. You got Leo Varadkar that's out there telling you, we asked the government and the EU if we could reduce this, and they said no. And we said, all right, sure, look. All right, sure, look is not happening. We don't want that. You want them to tell them what the likes of Viktor Orban and the Polish did. You don't want us to reduce that? Yeah, we are. Up yours. What are you going to do? And that's what they've done. Do you know what I mean? Because those countries hold their own people's values and principles and morals highest than most. Like, there's an awful lot to unpack into this one here, but that's cowardice now as well, is to put the mask on. And by the way, the science does not follow what he's doing. The science has told us for a very long time that putting the mask on in public and outdoors doesn't help you any which way at all. Not only that now, but if you're afraid of, because we just might as well go through this as we're going through, because it's an awful spoof for this for the last few years. But if you want to talk about the science and this being an issue for you now at this stage, you should have had the mask on 24/7. It shouldn't have been off your face. It should have been on your face since you began. You know what I mean? That's what the science is saying. That's what the likes of Professor Carl Hennigan, that was supposedly employed by the government here in Ireland, that Stephen Donnelly, failed to go to that meeting. Because, in my opinion, that leads into plausible deniability going forward. Oh, sure, I didn't know. That's why it's important to message these people and email them respectfully and peacefully with the documents that state all this, to say, you knew about that. Or if you didn't know about that, now you do. That's why serving them with the likes of these papers that people are going around and doing. I'm seeing in America all the time, people going around going, are you such and such Democrat politician? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go. There's the papers. And in the NHS as well, too, they've done the same. In Britain, they've gone around and gone, are you such and such? Yeah, that's grand. There's the paper now for you. And that says that you're culpable for anything that goes on here in the future. Panic. sets in. So that's interesting. No kicks, by the way. So we'll watch the video full through and then I'll kind of make a little bit of a commentary on it. Not a kick is seen in this video either, by the way, guys. This is another one as well, too, that was on Twitter, just to put it as an aside. And she's looking around with panic also to say, oh no, we have a lot of support on Twitter, guys, but this is not reality. Starting to recognize this, and that's what he's done here also. Isn't it interesting how quick the Gardaí moved in as well, too, to protect this fella? You know what I mean? Like, there's an awful lot. Now, look at that. There's the guy that was there earlier on. Now, he's putting the mask on. What's the reasoning for that? Just as an aside, this is a bicycle policeman here in Ireland. Why is he wearing the helmet still walking around? I mean, look, that's probably appropriate, to be fair. But look, why that's as much use to you now as it is to this guy with this on his face. Oh, stop. Anyway, we've seen some absolute humdingers in the force recently, and I say force when you say that in Gardaí, you know what I mean? Look at this guy. By the way, I just want to put it as an aside. The fella that let Enoch Bork out of court there not too long ago, that was pictured, that went all over the internet. Oh my God, I couldn't believe that nobody made comment about the fella's weight. Like I said earlier on, remember I was talking about that. Look at the height of this guy, would be standard practice, I'd imagine. Again, whilst I'm saying it's a big fellow, you know, he's height-wise. Look at the diminutive stature of this woman that's in between herself now and a politician. This is what I'm saying to you. Like, this woman is in danger here, if you want to take it from that respect. If you want to say that this is a group of people that are very agitated and very angry, you're putting this woman here in harm's way, and that's a weak link in the chain here. Like, let's just talk about biology and facts here. That's how it is. So, like I said, now my view on the whole situation is this: they've put women into the job so as to be able to turn around people that if they got, like, I mean, you've seen an article not too long ago about a guard that was absolutely, what would we say? He was left fighting for his life, to put it very, very clear. And he then heard about the person who did it was out in the street pretty quickly after. So that was a male guard. And, you know what I mean? My view, I think they put people like this lady here so as to stop that. But in future, that's not going to happen. Like, people are, you want to go with this thing and pretend people, everyone's the same. Well, you've seen it happen in the likes of New York there as well, where there was a woman assaulting a male cop and he laid her out. That's the games they're playing. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, you know? Like I said, I'd rather this lady be at home safe and sound and with a family and looking after the family, and I'm sure she'd rather be there also, rather than being in situations here where a politician that, in my opinion, probably should be under arrest for pushing what he's pushed here. But nah, that's not what's happening. Guys, we'll hide behind the guards who we wanted to have under a transparent and very thorough investigation for doing their jobs, so we can get a photo up here and pretend that the crowd are on our side. Instead, here's the reality of the situation, which is people that are actually telling you what's what. Take your position! Take your position! Take your So there you go. Not a kick to be saying there at all. So that totally goes against Paul's statements there, doesn't it? And I think we've heard it in there between the couple of people in uniform. You're breaching the peace. That's a famous line that you like to use there, but you don't like to use that for the last couple of years. So that's why people have lost faith and indeed trust in the Gardaí. And that's why a lot of these Gardaí don't seem to understand when they're pulling people over or they're speaking to people that people are just not talking to them appropriately and not talking to them with any sort of respect because of the lack of action. And this is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people out there that are on our side that want these people arrested, but the people that took the stuff under false pretenses and they are way more angrier than you and I are. And I mean, like I said before, I'm livid, and the blood, Ghost Rider is a very apt description there. The blood is beyond fire at times. And those people who have been well and truly conned, the anger's only beginning. And those people are way angrier than I am right now. So, interesting to see how things will go in the future. Here's Sharon Cogan here. Now, I kind of go hot and cold on Sharon all the time because sometimes she makes good statements and other times then she'll, big up a politician that you're like, doesn't make sense here at all.
Having spoken with an expert from Ireland's own National Gender Service, I now know not only were Irish children being sent to London to receive medical, hormonal intervention as this soon-to-be defunct clinic, but that psychologists from Tavistock were being flown over to a satellite clinic in Crumlin Hospital to carry out work there. The thing is, this was operated under the Treatment Abroad scheme, but that's for Irish people to visit an EU state to receive medical care they otherwise wouldn't be able to receive. No part of that scheme deals with flying psychiatrists in from a non-EU country to do business in Ireland. Critically, this meant that these medical professionals are operating with zero indemnity. They're not covered under the Irish scheme, and they are not covered by the NHS for work done in Ireland. The higher-ups in Crumlin Hospital didn't even know that this was happening. Why was this done? Because it was convenient, because it allowed this to happen under the radar without having to flag anything to the HSE by asking for a budget. Millions have been spent on this over the years. By 2019, members of the Irish National Gender Service had written to Crumlin's clinical director to voice their concerns at the practices and the care in these clinics. At a subsequent meeting, these same individuals asked for basic information from the clinical staff. How many children have been put on hormones and or puberty blockers? They didn't know. Can we see the assessment records for the patient? They have a few, nowhere near the correct total. It was then that our own medical professionals judged the Tavistock Crumlin satellite clinic to be ungoverned and unsafe. One of the NGS head psychiatrists flagged this with the HSE, urging them to conduct a complete review of the Crumlin kids at both a clinical and legal level. In response, he received a letter of comfort and no further action was taken. We need a full clinical and legal inquiry into the activities of Tavistock psychiatrists at Crumlin Hospital and to check in with the children impacted and to make sure that they are looked after.
Any arrests made? No. Any investigations pending? No. Breach of the peace, though, for telling the politician what you thought of him, though, and we've seen that excuse be wheeled out for people all over the last number of years. But this Tavistock thing, let's not worry about that. Enoch Burke in prison, let's not worry about that. Tavistock, yeah, countless millions been spent on it. Nobody knows who was doing what. It was in Crumlin Hospital. Nobody held accountable. So this is what's happening. People are starting to see what's happening in this country and what's been going on here for a very long time. And as I said before as well, this is from the 15th of September 2022. It's from yesterday, from Shannon Darren. I don't think it's going to be long before we see the likes of Shannon TV and all these things, Doll TV, be pulled down and go behind either a paywall. Now, I know people say you might be giving the media suggestions. The media are already doing it. Like the media are putting stories behind paywalls, and it's very interesting to see which ones they decide to throw behind them and the other ones that they want people to read the full story on. You know what I mean? By the way, your businesses are going out. You can't keep up with the likes of the YouTubers. You can't keep up with people that are way more liked. I mean, here's the thing. This Gonzo Clown World Commentary channel gets more likes than a channel with 55,000 subscribers. How is that? How is that possible? Are you not embarrassed? You know what I'm saying? And that's what people are hungry for. They're hungry for reality, and they're hungry for what's happening in the world and the truth. That's like I said to you earlier on. People's their primal brains are screaming, and they're going, "This is wrong. It's totally wrong." And it only happens for so long because, like I said before last week, you can only do this for a very limited amount of time, because when you have even the American, New York City that's celebrated every year, never forget. They want you to forget, though, about the number 7 building, though. They want you to totally forget about that. They want you to forget about, Donald Rumsfeld the day before telling people that 2.3 trillion went missing. Don't worry about that. I do want to tell you about the fella in the cave that was on dialysis, that he was able to orchestrate this, mastermind this stuff as if he was Cobra Commander, that was able to go ahead here. And weirdly enough, isn't this weird, that in 2008 then, they decided to use a similar story for Iron Man. It's almost like you were trying to legitimize what you did by using a comic book character. Now, I still love that movie, and I'm still a big fan of it, but ultimately when I talk to Americans, by the way, I decide to them, you invaded a country of mostly goat herders, and they still kept you, they kept you well in check and then took over the place pretty quickly after the fact. But you ultimately invaded their country under false pretenses here now. We all know that. And that's after a number of years. That's after at least a decade of things being revealed. These things have been revealed in the matter of months and weeks. Look at the monkeying around business. Done in a weekend. It was over. And they keep trying to wheel it back out. That's why they had to skip the monkeying around and go straight down to the climate stuff. And that's why it's so jarring for people. People are like, what? You went out from the sniffles there to the monkeying around, and the monkeying around was meme to bits. And now you've gone with Ukraine. People rightly have pointed that out and went, that doesn't seem legit. You can still buy hotels, and when I say buy hotels, you probably can buy a hotel, but you still can travel over there and get a hotel room there. The McDonald's is telling you it's reopening there. Right, that doesn't seem to jive with what they're saying, and that's a matter of weeks too, where that's all stopped and halted, and people are questioning that. And now you're seeing a real anger amongst the population in Ireland, being like, "Hey, how come people have been flown into a place here that's miles and miles away from their own home country into here?" And funnily enough, everyone that's coming off the plane doesn't seem to match the description on what was in the census from Ukraine from like 2016. All of a sudden, these people started to populate Ukraine by the mass, did they? People with African accents and Indian accents. I find that unlikely. So anyway, this is going to be something that's going to roll on, and we'll see what happens here. But this is life-altering stuff that's happening to people, particularly children, because children are being indoctrinated into these things. And this is what happens as well with the left, by the way. This is how stupid the left are, right? They'll try and say to you, yeah, you believe in the Bible. And the Bible, you're just taking a man's word and taking that as faith. Well, that's God. But you, on the left, are the same person that don't know Tony Holohan. You've no sort of linkage to any of these politicians whatsoever. You don't know them. You're taking what they say on faith. And it looks like you were wrong very quickly. Now, here's the Bible. The Bible has been out a very, very long time, and it seems to be that they're right about an awful lot there in the Bible and the various Gospels that are there. They seem to be very accurately stating as to how things are and how things should be. Meanwhile, you've been given the reins for a couple of years, and in there the last 2, and it's not gone well. Now, obviously as well, you do know that scientists have been wrong in the past. And what we have now is a very much so a magnified version of what's happened over time. You've got the likes of Aristotle, Galileo, and Leonardo da Vinci, and various other scholars and what would have been called experts at the time, because they were the smartest people around. They were the smartest people that around at the time, but they still made statements that were later on proved wrong. That's true science. And still science is evolving, and still science is telling us things. But science is evolving and telling us things rapidly and so quickly now that you can very much so eliminate what an awful lot of these people said 2 days after they said it. That's how quick it is and how quick studies are being done. So this is the shift that you're seeing now, and people start to realize when they go, hang on here, the Bible said not to let these guys in charge, and guess what? They're actually right. The Bible said if you leave certain people in charge, they want to go after you, and it's very true because it's happening there in America. It's happening now across the world because that's why they wanted to focus on Enoch being a Christian. Look at the promotion that Amy Huberman is getting in this country. You're looking and saying, who? Brian O'Driscoll's wife. Why is she getting lots of promo? Surname. Look at the surname. And look at the people that are around in the banks, the media. It's very clear and easy to see. And that's why when Mel Gibson is going to make a movie about a certain state, is panicking the life out of him. I don't care if it's a Z-list actor that's going to do the role or anything like that. If he gets that movie out there, it's going to cause serious trouble for these people, because that's what the likes of the My Son Hunter has done. It started to open the floodgates now to go, yeah, you better show what else is going on here to people. And at the very least, it's out. You know what I mean? It might not be mainstream, might be mainstream yet, but it'll be mainstream soon enough. You look at the way the Rings of Power is getting absolutely decimated online, and rightly so. I said it the other day. I think Nerd Rotic put up a statement, and it was about the Rings of Power. And I commented under it in Instagram, and I said, it's weird, isn't it, how you look at the Peter Jackson movies and all of the elven women are beautiful, and you look at the current Rings of Power and the woman that's playing Galadriel is below average looking. So anyway, that's a massive aside as to what's happening here. But this is what we're going to see now going forward. Fair play to Sharon, but that's the type of person. Indeed, more people need to be going for these positions. That's why the Shannon was an open goal, and it was very much so missed by nobody going and campaigning for it from a nationalistic point, because you want to get someone in there. This woman has been very good, but there has been moments in time where she said things that I don't agree with whatsoever, and that's politics, that's life, you know what I mean? That's democracy. But what if you got someone in there that's going to be very much so calling it as it is and be on Shannon Aaron and people see and hear it then? That's going to be very interesting. That's why I'm saying that was an open goal that people just decided not to go for, particularly the two parties that you would say were more nationalistic here in this country. Just totally missed that one. You know what I mean? You got a guy that got into the channel and nobody's heard about him since. I mean, he got in on the fact that he wanted to put more bus ramps onto buses for wheelchair access. That's what he got in on. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was an open goal. This is a banger here. This is, I love this. That's walking along here behind the hearse. I mean, it's caught rapid, but nothing done. I'm waiting to see the treatment that the average Joe gets from another fella that's an average Joe. I mean, these are all average heads. These are all people that do the same thing as you and me. And this fella in uniform then goes to screef him. Like, it's ridiculous. And this is the primal people that are around, like, that are going, oh, boo, you can't state that here. Hang on for a second. You're starting to misunderstand what's going on. This is a young guy. There's a lot of oldies amongst the crowd here, right? And the oldies have been brainwashed into treating these people with respect and civility. That's done. It's over. And why would you not take the chance to do this? And this is my argument. Why would you not take the chance to do this now? Because when is it going to be another time that you're going to get a chance like this? You're not. This is going around the world, though. That's why it's important. And that's why they've called out the two Liverpool games in particular. The Premier League ended up having to make a statement because lots of people were talking about it. And they're like, you cancelled the games because of the Liverpool fans, didn't you? And they were like, no. And then the rugby went out and went, yeah, we're going to play our games. And they went, oh, no. Yeah, guys. We were concerned about the Liverpool fans. And then in the Champions League match during the week, they were supposed to have a minute's silence. And the referee blew it up preemptively. And then the media were like, no, they were supposed to only do a moment's silence. Well, is that why the sound was all distorted at the start of the game? You could hear the players in the tunnel because you could never hear that before. That's not done. And the sound was dampened as well at the start of the game because they were afraid. And you had the image of this woman being booed at the UFC. Like I said, that is an image you just... Now, just to put that out there, and I seen Geeks and Gamers do it too, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, your head man is from Florida, right? And you've turfed these people out in the 1700s and you're like, RIP. You've turfed these people out. Why would you be mourning them? Oh, it's just another human being. Listen, it's a multimillionaire that never cared a jot for the average person. Was a person that decided not to say a word over the last 2 years and decided to go along with it. It's a person that's hanging around with the forum. You know what I'm saying? It's a person that's raised two fellas that are very, very sketchy. So when you bring that all back to it, this idea of, oh, well, it's a bit of sensible and sentiment. No. He's no better chance has he got than this time to do what he's done here. And that's the same thing with what you're saying with the politicians here in Ireland. You're saying it with Brid Smith and you're saying it with Paul Murphy. That's what I'm saying to you. These people have decided to engage in things that are uncivil. So when it's done back to them, you're seeing the you're seeing the discretion between them, and you're seeing the differences between them, and that's why they can't handle it then, and that's when this stuff gets over into the public. But shame on the people that are booing this guy who is accurately stating what has happened. Your man on the plane with Jeffrey and all, do you know what I mean? On Jeffrey's Island, caught rapid. But he wants, and this is what I'm saying to you, this is why I'm saying I'm siding with Meghan Markle. They've sided against collectively in the media too against Meghan Markle. Listen, I'm not saying I agree with everything she's done, but at the very least, she's taken the monarchy down major pegs, which is awesome. It's great, right? She's taken them down a few pegs. She's taken the Mickey out of it altogether. And at the same time as well, she's been hounded by the media. The same media that won't hound Andrew. They won't hound Charles now with the pictures, the videos, the images of him with Jimmy. Multiples of them, by the way. That's not just a mistake, because John Lydon, Johnny Rotten there from the Sex Pistols, he knew about him. Louis Theroux knew about him. So that's why you're seeing now. You're seeing people that are very aware of what's going on, and the people in the crowd that might, they're, stiff upper lip, and we won't boo this woman, and we won't boo Andrew. I think, no, that's all done. That's all done. These people didn't mind. These people didn't mind when your relatives were told that they couldn't be visited by you when they were in hospital. They didn't mind when you were told that only 14 people could attend the funeral. They didn't mind when funerals were put on stream on Zoom. They didn't mind that. So, again, like I said, why would you issue any sort of respect back towards them? Now, this is the thing. They cut off what he said in the feed because I'm absolutely sure with some of the videos that we've seen, obviously I can't show them on here, but the videos that are captured from behind him that tell you what he's saying he's talking about memo files, and he's bang on the money there. Look at the way he's screefed. Like, why is the fella that's walking along in the procession, like, this is the clown land and clown world that you live in. Why is the police not screefing your man that's in photos with underage people? Like, why is he not being screefed by them? Why is he not being brought in like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a fella that's, and this is what I'm saying about an important weekend. He's uttering words, and they've decided to treat this fella like this. Again, the same thing as what we'll see now in a few moments here in Ireland. Words. But the person that's done very negative and bad things over here, let them walk along. No problem at all. You're starting to see the inversion of what's going on. This fella is yoinked like a Pokemon. I don't know when he used to say return to the Pokeball. This fella's yoinked like that. He's yoinked like Scorpion out of Mortal Kombat. Like, they love to use breach of the peace, like, but is that not breaching the peace and assault there, no? Guys that want to defend the fella that's a memophile, sound as a pound. Nice one, lads.
I've done nothing wrong.
Awesome. Love to see it. Like I said here as well, Daniel Kinahan flees Dubai bolt hole and searches for safe haven in Asia. Daniel Kinahan never forced me to take anything. He never took away my civil liberties, my freedoms, or my rights or anything like that. Never done any of that. Again, he's doing his own thing. I'm doing my own thing. We're leaving ourselves to that. And that's life. You know what I mean? And that's why I've recognised over the last couple of years, and indeed talking to Plastic Paddy as well. I was saying to him, listen, whatever it is, and I understand that once it's not bothering me. But ultimately as well, you've got people out there that are going to engage in activities. Like, you got people that would be worried about a certain trade, we'll just say. Now, this is not in reference to Daniel Kinahan, I'm just saying out loud. What you would be saying is a certain trade, people, they end up being thieves because of that trade. No, they're going to be thieves anyway. If that's in them, they're going to do it at some point in time. If you decide to bring people around that have a problem, well, you're opening your door, you know what they're going to do, and ipso facto, that's the problem that you have there, right? But they've ultimately chosen to take this stuff that's been given to them, and that's the way they're behaving, okay? So that's up to them. They've made that choice, in my view. Should you turn your back on them forever? My opinion is no. And like I said before, you'd often see people in the street that are interested in the likes of alcoholic beverages, and I feel sorry for them, because they've gotten introduced to that and they're going to continue on with that. And to me, giving charity is giving that fella a 5 or a 10 or whatever it might be, rather than putting it into some nameless, faceless corporation that's going to be using it for their own means. So that to me is what that's about. But like I say here, they know everything about this guy, where he's going, who he's with. The American government are now involved in this. But no interest in Ibrahim Halawa, actually has a position there at Meta. Lisa Smith was given 15 months. But they're running around the world after this fella. That's not to mention, by the way, as I said here, can't figure out CSO data, can't figure out data released by companies, can't find out who's benefiting from Voldemort deals, and can't seem to figure out the criminality that was on show for the last 2 years. But you know everything about this guy. They're showing you that these boys have something that they fear. That's what they're doing. And as I keep saying, there's an old phrase there, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And to me, whatever these fellas possess is frightening governments. Now, if you're frightening governments, you must possess something very serious, because they're not running around after these fellas for no reason. And they're not running around because these fellas have been allegedly involved in certain trades, and they've allegedly been involved in things that these people don't like. Like I said, this guy never took my freedoms, civil liberties, rights, no, nothing of that. Nothing at all. Done nothing to me. And that's the way I'm happy to keep it. And I'm sure vice versa. I'm sure he feels the same. I'm sure he's saying, well, fair play to this guy that's over here now saying, I've done nothing on him. And his government have done plenty of things on him. And most people, this is what the media do. The media, as I was saying to Plaza Paddy, have done some very, very nasty things over the years with the way they've reported on these guys, and have caused friction and paranoia between people that are, not just these guys, but other people that are out there. And I mean, you've seen it over this summer with Ronaldo. The media spent 4 months saying that Cristiano Ronaldo was going to move away from the club. That was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. Always been refused by every club around the world. No, only a stupid person would think that, because the fella brings in mega bucks when it's in terms of selling jerseys. You don't think any club would want him? You're absolutely out of your mind. Oh, they won't pay his wages. Listen, they'd make the wages back they would in 2 days with the short sales that they'd make. This fella is phenomenal. Greatest of all time. So that spiel that's given to you by the media and telling lies, and then Ronaldo coming out and confirming that they were lies, you have to understand that these people do it for their own liking. They do it for their own sales. And that's why they do paper talk. This player's been linked to Manchester United. Manchester United were never interested in. Not at all. So this is what we've been seeing for the last number of years. And I'm sure these people in the likes of the boxing world in particular, as the Kinahans have been involved in, they've been involved in the boxing world. And this is the type of treatment that they're getting. These type of articles coming out, and the likes of Bob Arum saying, I'm cutting ties with this. You telling me that Bob Arum's the cleanest person around in the world? You telling me the likes of Dana White's the cleanest person around the world? Like, everybody knows. You know what I mean? Dana White's on record saying about Whitey Bulger was involved at the time, not with him, but certainly in Boston, was a big player, and that's why Dana White left Boston. So, that's what happens when you're in business. People do business different ways. But again, like as I said, I don't have any ill will nor harbour any sort of problems with these guys, because there's never caused a problem to me. They haven't taken my rights, my liberties and civil rights, nothing like that at all. So like I said, anyway, my enemy is my friend. So clearly these guys must have something that frightens not one government, but two. Because when you bring it down to very simple terms, this government were happy to bring Lisa Smith back to the country. And the Yanks were happy with that too, because in spite of them fighting against the group that she involved herself in, the Yanks didn't want to have anything to do with it. That's in mind. Ibrahim Halawa was allegedly involved in a group that also the Yanks had problems with, and was brought back to this country with no issue. Now both the Irish government and the Yanks are interested in these guys. That doesn't add up, does it? That doesn't make sense. So, very interesting to see where that goes from here on out. Joanna Fortune says, my son won't eat unless his food is separated. This is a woman, by the way, that advocated on Ireland AM for masking infants. And I'm talking about infants. I am talking about children that are weeks and months old, showing people how to put a mask on an infant. This woman is an absolute space cadet, in my opinion, at the very least. And I'm not surprised that the young fella is turning out like this. Because when you have a mother like that, that's been listened to, saying outrageous things, I'm not shocked. I pity the child. Very much so do. Let's keep going. Man charged after Prince Andrew heckled during royal procession. Happened while Charles led senior members of the royal family to St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh following. Yeah, so like, how are you charged? How are you charged for shouting words? But your man that's running up there that's had been involved in illegal activities is all walking there, not an issue whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? That's clown planning for you, you know what I mean? Investigation TDs who own rental property who but haven't declared rental income. One TD registered 18 properties and no rental income. No investigation into that one? No worries about that? Of course not. That's madness. Taoiseach says he prefers energy credits to price caps. In appearing to rule out energy price caps, Micheál Martin said any measure would have to be fiscally responsible and sustainable. So that doesn't make sense whatsoever, because why would you not cap them? Now you've also done a silly thing there from your own point of view, which is you've actually told people that you can cap them, you can make them do that. And with ESB as well being state-owned, I think is at 95% of it state-owned, these absolutely have the power to do that. And how ironic is that power? And talking about the ESB. Anyway, this is the type of nonsense that they want to go with. They want to gouge people for prices and they want to give people credit and still make you pay, but they're happy to bring people into the country and house them for nothing and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I keep saying to people that are more elderly than I am. I keep saying to them, here, what do you think of this? I said, you're up to your nads there and paying for bills and all that, and they're wheeling people into this country and driving them around to nice hotels, giving them all sorts. They're not worried about power or bills or anything like that. They're well looked after. So that's coming a cropper too. Magdalena Andersson, Swedish PM, resigned as right-wing parties win vote. Awesome. This is going to be something that's going to happen in future, and it's going to be the way to go forward. And that's why I keep saying to people, I'm like, just hold the line. Clown World is coming to an end. The Rings of Power is in serious trouble. That's the end of it for woke entertainment. I actually seen it as well, talking about woke entertainment. The Little Mermaid, there was a fellow that used AI to change Ariel back to what she actually looked like, and he was banned off Twitter immediately because he was like, yeah, listen, we can just change this up here. Hawkman, you don't think Hawkman should look the way he should in that movie? 100%. Yeah, Aldous Hodge doesn't look like Hawkman. You want them played by someone that looks like Hawkman, we gonna do that. And that's what needs to happen. People need to start casting them themselves. It's what's going to go on. I'll tell you, waiting to see the market for that. They've unearthed the dragon here on this one. But this is great to see. And this is the way to do it. You win the vote, and most people will then look at it and say, oh, things are prosperous. Like talking to Plastic Paddy the other day. He's like, I didn't realise how good Trump was until I started to look at my wallet. And he talked about his Thanksgiving, and he says I had a ham, a turkey, and a lamb. He said for Thanksgiving one year. And he's like, this is great. Things are going well. And then he's like, now under Joe, much different. And I said, well, at least he's know. And I mean, it's very simple. You're seeing your wallet and you're seeing who's involved. The only unfortunate part is there's nobody that's made serious momentum or serious gains for the last couple of years, particularly party-wise. I keep saying it. I'd love to see the likes of a Phil Dwyer, Dave Cullen, Satirical Soldier, Derek Bloig, Irish Gettr, all form a party. And then that party then spread itself to other counties and indeed have representatives. Meath badly needs one, in my view. And that's how you do it from a grassroots level. Very simple. And 4 or 5 people is all it takes. And I think when you get momentum with it is going to be very big. And to me, that's what's needed, because I think politically people, if they hear that, they might initially not like it because people don't want the truth to be told and they want comfort in lies rather than uncomfortable truths. But if people keep telling the truth and keep pointing out as they are, look at these guys over here, they want to be involved in the EU and have the EU tell us what to do. We don't want that. We want our own fishing. We want our own waters to be fished by our men predominantly. We don't want to be giving over majority of our produce there to people from the EU. We want out of the EU. The EU is telling us we have to do this, that, and the other. Very simple stuff. And people will pick up on that message and go, okay, and they give them a shot, because Sinn Féin are going to be given the next shot, no doubt in my mind. And people are going to be just so, they're going to be so unhappy because they're going to go, well, there's no way out. And a lot of people feel that now already. They're all like, I'll vote for Sinn Féin. It's not going to be really changed. I'm like, totally agree with you. That's why you need to vote alternative to that and say, get someone in that's going to do the job. I mean, and this is where you go from here. So there's no point in, I could feel great anger and rage against the current regime. But the thing is, you got to hold out hope for more people to see the writing on the wall now, which is common sense being reinstalled into places. And to me, then that's what happens. You get in then, and then it should be a clean sweep then forevermore, unless they pull out what they did in America. And that to me just kind of states everything you need to know about what they'll do. And it's about prohibiting that, because you've seen America have done it, and you've seen that a fella's there now for 4 years, and it's taken a long time to sort that out. Getting ahead of the posse, that was very important. County Wexford Hotel gets €71,000 energy bill for 1 month. The Riverside Park Hotel in Enniscorthy has been hit with a 1 month energy bill of 71,000, equating to an increase of around 350 cents for the same period. Now, I'm going to have a look into that one, and I'm going to see if they've posted anything there in support of Ukraine, anything in support of discriminating against customers and potential customers, because when I see bills like this being issued to these places, I just go, ha, ha, ha. Especially if you're one of these places that wants to discriminate and indeed is supporting the current thing. Like I said, you wanted to support the current sting, now you're feeling the sting. So that's where you're at now. You've got most people that are going, good enough for you. IrishCycle.com, bicycle confiscated from cyclists when cycling on Capel Street where cycling is allowed. Passerby who videoed the incident told by Garda that recording was not allowed due to GDPR before being told to leave the area under the Public Order Act. They love that Public Order Act. That's thrown around willy-nilly. Here it is. The guy that got the bike confiscated had to pay a €40 fine, and now he's taking it further because he's like, the Garda were wrong on 2 occasions here. But that's a police state that's incoming now, and that's people that don't know the law, and it should be very easy then for a potential solicitor here to come in here and go, hang on here now, you're way out of line. What's not done with Gardaí, which I've been made clear and it's been made clear to me about, is these people don't know the law. They know very little of it. I mean, look back to the bus Airden video that I did that showed open discrimination, and you've got a guard that came in that was like, hey, look. Don't worry about the statutes. Don't worry about laws. What? Don't worry about statutes and laws. Then sure, like, what are we governed under then? Like I said to you before, you look at the Nuremberg Code, you look at the Geneva Convention, you look at the 10 Commandments in the Bible. To me, those are the ones that you look at, and these man-made things that they like to put up willy-nilly shouldn't be listened to. But this is what you've got now going on. You've got Gardaí then that end up surrounding this fella to take the bike off him, and then we're acting the bully boys then to tell a fella not to, or allegedly a fella, not to be recording what they were doing, which was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And this is why it's important to record these people. And this is why you're seeing like this type of article, which is good from irishcycle.com, to be like, hang on here now. These people have done a bad job. They've done a wrong job, and they're being recorded, and they don't want that to happen. But that's why, like, to have this conversation with the old boy all the time. And he's like, technology's great, but technology's also bad. I'm like, yeah, but I said, look at the number of things that have happened in the last few years. And you'll even see it in the video that I'll show you now below. The fact that people have technology and cameras with them, that could have turned out a way different way. I mean, Paul Murphy's instantly disproved within an evening. Like, he told lies. Doesn't make a statement then, and doesn't make a report on it to Gardaí, especially when CCTV is everywhere there. So he's told lies. And now you've got the proof in the pudding there. Other side of the game is this. Had things gotten a bit hairy, the Gardaí whipping out batons. This is why the likes of the last summer as well was very important. I suppose not this summer, but summer before, when these people decided to go out with batons and decided to attack people that were enjoying a few drinks, because the government told people to be afraid of the sniffles, and people said, no, we're all right, because Leo Varadkar was out in the first 2 weeks in the can. Oh, obviously not in the can. He should be in the can anyway. He was up in the Phoenix Park there drinking cans with a few lads. This is when he declared that this stuff was very serious. You know what I'm saying? Then moved himself to Farmley, then bought another house and all that. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to make sense there whatsoever, does it? So more and more people are starting to realise this. More and more people are starting to say, okay, I'm just going to record you now, and that's it. And you want to get involved with me? That's fine. Because here's what's happening on the flip side. People don't want to have any consent nor contract with these people in uniform, and now these people want you not to record them. Well, if you're doing a good job and you're doing an accurate job, you shouldn't be afraid of people recording you. And this is the end result now. They've been recorded now doing the wrong job, and I'm sure that's going to be used as evidence going forward. I mean, RTE says sponsored by state agency will have no impact on content of Airport show. Oh my God, what a lie. That's an outrageous lie. Panda Power confirmed exit from Irish energy market. Electricity and gas supplier Panda Power has confirmed its intention to make a controlled exit from the Irish energy supply market. So they put their prices up through the roof. Most people left them, and now they're gone. Yeah, we're out. Now, why is that important? Because now you're starting to see a monopoly. You're seeing a monopoly amongst the banks. You're seeing a monopoly amongst the energy providers. You're going to see a monopoly amongst way other more important things also as well. I mean, look, energy is important. We're going to see more monopolies occur now, and that's a controlled reason of doing that is to introduce and, in my opinion, implement communism. I mean, they're very clear as to what they want to do. They want state surveillance. They don't want you surveilling them, but they want to surveil you, which is communism. And they want you to not have anything and to be basically credited by the government. Okay. Now, the reason why they're crediting people at the moment is so that later on down the line, in my opinion, what they can do is then say, oh, well, you're linked into such and you made a post about this, and we're not going to give you your credit now. Oh, you made a post. You see what I'm saying? That's how quick and easy it's done. And that's what they want to do. They want to link your bank card, your transactions. And I mean, if you were to part and say certain things like the truckers protest, they're going, oh, no bank for you. And that means no energy, no heating for you. That's how quick and easy it's done. Now, are people going to take that? I don't think for very long. Do I think they're all going to do that? I doubt it. And see the blackouts that they're talking about also, that's also going to be an interesting one as well, because what if they talk about blackouts and you know where Eamon Ryan lives, or you know where Helen McEntee or Micheál Martin lives, and you see the powers on there? That's real easy to find out. And I'm not saying to go to the house again. I disavow and I wouldn't suggest anything like that. But if you live in that constituency and you see that everyone else is blacked out but their house isn't, oh, that's problems then. People are going to start to see that and they'll understand. They're going, well, hang on here. That's rules for thee, not rules for me. What's happening here now? Celtic fans unveil the crown before Champions League clash in Poland. Based Celtic. Real risk of fuel charges next year, warns UN. The Secretary General of the United Nations has warned there is a real risk of fuel charges next year. Now, when I say this, and it's been reported by Re News, by the way, my advice is this: is stock up. And this is why you're seeing the panic amongst the government and indeed the media when it comes to boomsticks. They are very afraid of people getting their hands on those. So again, I'm not supporting nor endorsing nor suggesting people should get boomsticks. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't support that at all. IrishCycle.com, removal of motor traffic from College Green and Dane Street to start incrementally in 2023 ahead of full redesign, because they don't want you owning a car. It's becoming increasingly difficult to fund cars. And the reason why is to meet these little agendas that they like to have. And the reason is ultimately to stop you from moving away. They want you to have little hubs. They want you to have a 15-minute hub and you to be kept in your little area there, your little bubble. And that's it's like something out of Total Recall or The Fifth Element or something, isn't it? But that's what they want to do. Let's keep going. It broke me when my son put a pillow between us in the airbed and said, look, it's like we have our own room. Two young mothers have spoken about the severe stress of bringing up their children in overcrowded spaces while they wait for suitable housing. It's come from The Independent. This is an article that's behind a paywall. Now, none of the articles that are being flooded now on the internet that are talking about alleged Ukrainian refugees are behind paywalls. All of these type of ones that are talking about the paddy. That's pretty suspect, isn't it? And all the ones that are critical of the banks and critical of certain institutions, they're all behind paywalls too. Now, ultimately, here's the thing. The likes of these people and the likes of The Independent and various other organizations and outlets, they put these things behind paywalls because people like myself and other people out there that were reading the documents and saying, look how ridiculous these are and these statements are. They've done that for that reason. But here's the next game that they're going to play. And I hope they do, because that'll firmly put them out, is they're going to stop putting these articles out. And certainly with headlines, because they like to use misleading headlines for sure, you know. And here's the thing. They'll eventually stop doing that. And when they do, that's bye-bye Independent, that's bye-bye Irish Daily Mirror, that's bye-bye Irish Times. So I can work with what you're doing with a headline, no problem. Because what I can do is I can cross-reference it with other articles that are not behind paywalls. So there you go. You've got a woman in here with an Irish name, it seems, and she's been put behind the paywall. But now we'll put copious amounts of articles out there that are about people that have allegedly come from one country. We all know that not to be true. And they're being absolutely fawned over, you know? Says it all. Family-run bus company ending services due to soaring costs. Buggy coaches operating routes between Kilkenny and Castlecomer and Ballyragget for 72 years will end for good on Friday. This is where it's going. We all told you that this is happening. We told you that likes of paying outrageous prices at the pump was going to do this. We told you that the Greens weren't going to be beneficial for this country. We told you that copious lockdowns and indeed injecting the things that didn't work and told you didn't work, that were going to cost money that now have to be paid back in some way, shape, or form, because this is what it's all about. Oh my God, it's free. No, it's not. Everyone knows that that's not free, and you're going to take other means to take that money back off people. And that was the left's response for the last couple of years. Take the stuff because it's free. Yeah, but the stuff's not good for you. But still take it. No. And it's proven not to work, so therefore I'm not taking it. And everything looks hunky-dory with me. Thank God, touch wood. So how is it that the likes of me have gotten through the last couple of years? Like, this is, again, you're applying logic to this situation. These people don't like logic at all. This is why they think there's 32 genders and all that, and why do you want to engage in the transformer stuff? Because they don't use logic at all. And the same people as well too that will call you phobic. If you want to turn around, okay, you want to play that game? I'll tell you what. If you're someone that's a supporter of Transformers, all right, like Paul Murphy, why don't you just be with a Transformer then? Be with them. Go on. Like, have relations with them. Oh, you don't want to do that? Well, you're calling. Here's the thing. I don't believe in John being called Jen, right? I don't believe in that. And I'm not happy to endorse myself in that type of way of thinking. But if that person wants to do that and they want to live their best life, that's grand. And whoever they want to be with, once it's illegal, consent and adult, no problem at all. But you're the person now that's telling me I have to believe in that. Why don't you be with that person? How about that? Go on over there and see how it gets on. You don't want to? It looks like you're more the fault than anybody else here. So anyway, that's the left anyway. Put reason to it and it's very easily done. But this is what I'm saying. Like, would this be a coach as well too that was forcing mass on the people to get onto the coach? Was there a downturn in business from there? All these are possibilities, you know? So again, it's sad to see anybody lose business. But my sympathy definitely isn't there for people that have decided to endorse madness and supported madness. This is just, again, I'm not saying this business did. What I'm saying is it's the end result and consequences of doing what we've done over the last number of years that people like myself and others have told you not to do. The Guardians, 100 years of an Odysee read an extract. Look at the Star Trek Littles bleeding uniform that they have there. Absolutely atrocious. And headed by a man there from the PSNI. Like, that's how you know the place is upside down. When you fought for independence and sovereignty away from the British, and the British inevitably are just in charge again. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why you're seeing the manhandling of Irish citizens the way you are, and the protection of certain other people as well. Because, I mean, there's some people making claims out there, again, speculatively, allegedly, that the Garda are still operating under the Crown. Now, again, that's comments that's been made by other people out there, and again, as I said, speculatively, allegedly. So that to me is interesting, because how is it then the highest ranking position in the land? And indeed, a number of positions are now held by people not of this country. How is it that two people from the PSNI now are involved heavily and in major positions with An Garda Síochána? How is it that they've imported a couple of Canadians into these positions, people that are wokesters? Why are they now involved in our police force? Why are they now actively telling you, because this is where it's gone, why are they actively telling you that the force now is becoming more diverse and they want to see more diversity in it? Okay, well, that's not great, because what's going to happen there is you're inevitably, because it's going to happen everywhere, you're going to set up little factions then, and little factions are going to happen, and there's going to be things that are going to slide. And I mean, you look at, like, for example, Detroit and Baltimore and all these things. This is why The Wire was a brilliant TV show program, because it showed you how these things operated. Showed you that people that came from a certain area, when they ascended into these positions, then not all of them, but some of them then still had ties, and they were like, I'm going to let that slide. Don't worry. You know what I'm saying? So this is what you're seeing. You're seeing a big culmination of it now in front of your very eyes. And to me, to even think of, you think of 100 years ago, and you say to, you won't even go back as far as 1916. You talk to Michael Collins and you say, yeah, you know the way you're fighting off British Empire there. Yeah, well, what do you think about the police force in the future have been run by British people? Imagine saying that to him. Oh my God. Bill Gates says he's taken extra conspiracy abuse because people don't know Fauci outside the US. This is how you know what people are doing is working. Because this is how you know, when you see articles, by the way, and statements being made by these people, this is how you know that the side is bigger than what they say it is. You see Helen McEntee out there saying, it's a minority of people that have anti-refugee sentiment. No, it's not. And the fact that you've said that is the complete opposite of that. I mean, that's a small minority of people. It ain't. That's the majority of people. And I can tell you now, people that have firmly believed over the last couple of years, the stuff that you have peddled out are in the majority of gone, this is nonsense, this is wrong. It's the fact that you're acknowledging people like this guy. This guy's a multi-millionaire, wouldn't have to worry about working another day in his life and wants to get involved in this and is now freaked because people are like, we see you. And they keep seeing him, they keep looking. And he's like, oh no, like I can't get away with this at all. So what this says to me, by the way, is they're setting Fauci up to be the fall guy eventually, which they are. I mean, that's the writings on the wall there for him. And the fact that he's old and he wants to retire now, you know, I wouldn't be surprised now if he I wouldn't be surprised if he clogs wouldn't be surprised if he goes away soon anyway. But this fella wants to keep rolling on because he's part of it as well. But like I said, multimillionaire wants to involve himself in nonsense. It just boggles the mind. Martha's Vineyard, science is real. Boy large mansions, no human is illegal. Love is love. Kindness first. Warning. 24-hour surveillance. The Simpsons mean very easy. Andrew Thorpe says Josh Shapiro is allowed to put his faith at the centre of his campaign, but when Doug Mastriano does it, it's dangerous. And he's talking about the privilege there. This is what's happened. Politico, as Tucker Carlson likes to say. This is what these people like to do. You know, there you go. Look, this pounds Christian lesson doesn't represent the value of the state. Are you telling me that the state that you're in is mostly this and not this? You're wrong. Listen, I'm the type of person that is Christian, and I'm like, nah, your faith is definitely wrong, mate. And history has told us that, you know, what you did to Jesus. And it seems to be similar things that you're doing now, smearing people in the media, telling people that they're wrong, telling them that their faith is wrong. It seems every time in the media and entertainment that only bashes one race, one religion, and particularly one gender. Seems like that's a hat trick of things that are very unique and indeed linked somewhat to Jesus, isn't it? And you get to let these be like, Jesus was Middle Eastern. Yeah. So what? You're right. So this is it. You've got these people that are freaked out of their minds they are because this guy is Mastriano is going, yeah, no, I'm Christian and I'm going to look at Christian values. Christian values seem to work out really well across the world when they're in place. Other values, not so much. So, you know, very interesting, isn't it? The hypocrisy in that. DeSantis pushes illegal immigrants because here in Ireland, they're called undocumented. They're the undocumented. They're illegal immigrants then, yeah? Yeah. Oh, you changed the wording? Okay. That's like the way you're trying to change the word memophile into something more tolerable and more palatable, isn't it? That's why you're calling them maps now, isn't it? That's why you're doing that. Very simple and very easy, and they change terminology and they change words, and that's why they go, oh, you're far right. Listen, I'm right so far. Let's take the National Party slogan here. We're right so far here on this one. People that are on the Nationalist Front here are right about what's going on. And funnily enough, this little Gonzo production, amongst other Gonzo productions, are able to have, with a crystal ball, all of the answers as to what happens a number of months later. Told you over a year ago these things don't work. Media coming out now and been like, yeah, listen, they don't really work. It's yeah, we kind of messed up on that one. Oh, you messed up on it? All right, okay. Interesting to see. What about the footballers that are dropping? What about the medical measures in the crowd? Not worried about that. Sound. What's it to do with? It's to do with the climate. Oh, okay. So DeSantis pushes the illegal immigrants deeper into the country, ships illegals to Martha's Vineyard. Another Republican governor has decided to spend taxpayer dollars to ship illegal immigrants deeper into the country. This is a banger, and this is a fella that's making real ground now. It's going to be interesting to see 2024. A lot of Floridians don't want this fella to run for president because they're like, no, keep him as governor here. He's doing a great job, and we don't want someone else that might be a bit more left-leaning here. We want this guy. So to me, here's the thing. What could and should happen, I would say, if they were, not to say these people are clever, I would, if you were going with Teflon Don for the presidency, this fella is VP, you'd have 12 years then. VP for 4, president then for 8. Set him up, show him the ropes, tell him what's what, and it's on them. You know what I'm saying? 12 years. That's, if I was an American, that's why I'd be looking at it. be the cleverest way of doing things, and then the other side of the game would be done. You'll see that picture now of that, Jim Henson auditionee in a moment. Dublin Live.ie, 30 ways to cut your energy bills as crippling winter looms. From cooking to washing your kettle, great tips that will bring down your bills. Have these people fly that blue and yellow flag in their profile? They haven't once said the government are at fault for this. They haven't once said that maybe putting sanctions on the country that seems to hold everybody by the short and curlies, rather than going, excuse me, yeah, because this is what I do if I was there. Excuse me, lads, we're actually not with the EU. it's like when you're going at night out there and you're with the lads, and one of the lads then pulls this blatant 2 out of 10, and you're like, oh no, we're not hanging around to whore. It's gonna cramp our style here. You don't want the other women that are hanging around thinking this is what we hang out with, because not only that, you're going to bring the other mutants over here then. And no, I'm not interested in that. We all set out the pact at the beginning of the night now and bring home a 2 out of 10. And we also then say that anyone that does go near 2 out of 10, you go over there with her. That's what's done. So if I was running the show, I'd be out there going, first of all, I wouldn't be calling Vladimir what Leo Varadkar called him at all, nor likening him to anybody in the past, like in 1930s, 1940s Germany. I'd have been straight out the door. I'd been like, listen, we don't stand with the EU there whatsoever. In fact, we're looking to get rid of the EU influence in our country. Tell you what, you look after us, we're all good, yeah, sound? Because I can see the writing on the wall. You're a much bigger country. Ain't nobody jumping in for your man there that's in the high heels, that's running around with the blue and yellow flag, that's taking pictures with Vogue, and then putting out copious amounts of lies and sending these people out of the country. And funnily enough, the majority of the people that you talk to that are from that country, that are actually from that country, actually very much so dislike him. To which my response is, why did you leave him where he was? So you've got that now, and you've got Dublin Live acting the goat like this, but that's who's writing these stories. You know what I mean? Like every single time. I mean, I hate to be right. Look, I don't hate to be right all the time. I'm very happy when I'm right. But every single time I seem to be accurate in what I say, it's never a 10 out of 10. I remember saying this to the boy a while ago. He was like, you kind of focus on people's looks a bit. I'm like, but there's something in that. Every single time you see a 2 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10 female that looks like this, that cuts her hair like this, that, is packing a few, that takes a picture like this. By the way, I'm the master of looking at pictures like this, because spent, as you know, with the media that we see these days, women are out to take pictures from very flattering angles. And this is definitely a woman that's showing way less of herself than you would. Listen, a fit woman generally shows her entire frame. That's what she does. And she will usually do a picture with a friend, predominantly as well too, to just show you that she's much better looking than the friends. Okay? That's what a good-looking, confident woman does most of the time. If not, she'll take a singular picture herself and she'll show you her entire frame. Not this character, though. And again, like I said, it's no surprise to see when these individuals are out there making stupid comments about how to cut down your energy bills instead of looking at who the direct responsibility lies with, which is the government of Ireland. Now, this woman's name, interestingly enough, is Levi Winchester. Like I said, always the same. It's always the same characters. It's always the same people that look like they were made in a Jim Henson workshop. And they're making these type of claims. You know what I mean? There's something in that. I'm telling you. Has to be. Every single time. And that's why I started to do on Instagram. I keep showing models. I'm like, do you think this chick that's wearing a bikini is running around saying this type of thing? No, she's not. She's looking to get husbanded up very quickly, because she knows what's going on. And she's making good coin off the way she looks. You know what I mean? And she's a happy woman. And she looks good. So, there you go. Calls for Bertie Ahern to be readmitted to Fianna Fáil. Oh, the going is getting tough when Bertie Ahern... Bertie's coming back Bertie for new beginnings. Here's the facts of the matter, lads. This is a fella that you look at Enoch Burke sitting in jail. This is a fella that should absolutely be in jail. I mean, remember the German interview? I think he was German, wasn't he? German interview when reporters used to do real jobs instead of what they're doing now, which is, fondling the likes of politicians. This is why this channel exists, by the way, because the likes of the media decided to fondle politicians. And I was like, hang on, you're not doing your job. I remember when real journalists used to be out there. That's why I'm inspired by the likes of, Superman and Clark Kent. Superman is a character, that is a godlike figure. And what did he choose to do? He chose, out of all the professions around the world, to be a journalist because he was good in heart and good in mind. And why he did that was for the benefit of people around the globe, because he could be there and he could help, but he could also then write the story accurately as to what went on. That's not what's happening now. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I've had enough of the lies. And I've had enough of this type of nonsense coming out like Irish Examiner, propping up Bertie Ahern. This is a fella that was in an interview with a fella, I think, from Germany, who asked him, how does the, I'm not even going to go with it, how does a finance minister not have a bank account? And Bertie was like, that was always, and he started stuttering like a lunatic. He was very calm and composed before that, and then he started to stutter like a loon. Then that was sorted out. That was on trial. And your man just says, no, I just asked you, how does a finance minister not have a bank account? And he just went, the interview is over. Oh my God. Could you imagine being that party though, right? And having such a lack of charisma and activity that you're looking at Monty there running the party, and the party's like, lads, we are going to, as Khabib Nurmagomedov said, we are going to get smished in the next election. What do we do? Well, we've got nobody here that's making noise. We've got Mark McSherry that wanted to pretend he was on the side of the people, but then still voted for us and voted with us. You've got Willie O'D that's doing the same thing as well. That's talking a good game to the media and then end up voting with us. What do we do? Why don't we bring back Bertie? Sounds good, Lance. Bring back a fella that's popular. Yeah, you're going to be worried about the things that he was allegedly up to in the past. Can't be any worse than what we've currently done. That's the state of that party. I mean, imagine that. I mean, that's like a top club, right? Remember Frank de Boer? I think it was the manager of Southampton. That's like Southampton having a shit manager at the minute, right? And then deciding, do you know what we're going to do, guys? We're going to get rid of him and we're going to bring in Frank de Boer, a serial loser, a fella that didn't win a Premier League game, a fella that didn't have a team that scored a goal in 7 games, I think it was. Yeah, we're going to replace him with Frank de Boer. Huh? Bertie said he did the peace process. He couldn't give a rat's. He couldn't give a rat's. He would do that with Tony Blair. Tony Blair is lucky to be walking around. Again, another one. You know, your man was screefed and charged there for saying mean words. But Tony Blair, who is, you know, allegedly a criminal of war, as they would say, walking around still. Was another fella that was coming out looking like Mephisto from Marvel Comics over the last 2 years. Another fella that looks like Bill Clinton. Isn't it weird how these people all look like cast members of the Ghostbusters? Now, I'm not talking about Ghostbusters. I'm talking about the opposition, the ghosts. These fellas all come out and they all look like Mephisto from Marvel Comics, and they're going, you take the passports or else you won't be able to live. And you're like, this is the same gang that were talking about freedom not too long ago, and they wanted to liberate a nation under false pretenses. No thanks. Anyway, we keep going. That's from Plastic Paddy, which joined us live in an hour. Philip Dwyer's video here, live streaming from Tal. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you have a look. There's a number of ladies, and I use that term very loosely, that are in this video, and this guy here as well too, that are refusing them entry into it. This woman admits then that she is a communist. They're on the ground here, guys. You know what I mean? And this is what communism does. It shuts out dissenting voices. What I would say is this, again, I'm not someone to give, like, obviously, you know, I try and recommend what could. I think this is the best thing that Philip does as well, too. Philip does these things, and what he does is he sees what works and what doesn't work. And I would have, unfortunately, at the moment, in this video, it was a late notice one and there wasn't anyone else there. But definitely have someone on hand, or either a second mobile phone, to then be able to call the Gardaí and get them to turn up. Because if you're saying to these people to call the Gardaí, they ain't going to do that because they're just keeping you outside the door. Have the second mobile there to be like, you don't want to let me in? Okay, right, let's call the Gardaí. And do it yourself, you know? And make that... And I mean, again, the 5D chess that's been played, which is alerting the Gardaí beforehand, the Gardaí telling you have a right and you absolutely can go in, get them to turn up. And then, again, you've got the recording then, which was shown by the Irish Inquiry, which was Gardaí turning up to a Sinn Féin meeting and then actually putting themselves inside the building and holding the doors shut and getting verbally abusive then with people that were trying to gain access into an event that was classed as a public event, a public meeting, and then these people chose to discriminate against people. You know what I mean? Now, nothing shocks me. None of this shocks me, but it's just more highlighting. And I think Philip is at about 4,000 views on this one, which is awesome. Awesome to see 4,000 views on a live stream. That is fantastic. And I don't think you can grasp that enough. Like, that's an hour live stream that's outdoing numbers. I think Philip has 6,000 subscribers. He's outdoing the numbers of News Talk. Like, that is exceptional. And that can't be highlighted enough. And this is the type of thing that we need to see more of as well. And I think the fact that he's given a voice to people as well, and he's very funny. The start of the video, there was a fellow who was like, "Don't put me on camera." And Philip went, "Yeah, you're not good looking enough to be on camera." Sharp wit, you know what I mean? Funny like that, and very likable character. So, you know, we'll have Philip on live as well too soon. I'll have to hear him up and get him on again. Great lad, absolutely great lads. But brilliant to see that video, you know. EU support to Ukraine is unshakable. Von der Leyen. How is this woman still where she is? That's baffling to me. Do you remember Erdogan? Erdogan put this woman really much so into our box. And since then, Erdogan seems to look more rational, really. The media tried to paint him as this sort of head, but like, he stopped left wingism in Turkey. He was like, "No, I'm not doing this." Now he done it in a different way. He was like, "No, these people want to do extremist things here, and they want to get involved at the forum. I'm not doing that." But this is a woman that has, is it more than alleged now, I think, ties to the group beginning with P, the company beginning with P. How is she still where she is? Her position was untenable like 3 years ago, and still is where she is. It's absolutely startling. But again, what you've done is you've just replaced one fella in the 1930s and 1940s with this one here, and same outcome. They have just done, I mean, when you think about history, how is that a country that wasn't disbanded, or at the very least policed more? After 2 incidents with having a knock with the world, they were still allowed to accumulate this power. How? But then you look at history and you say, well, what happened in the fallout? Well, Britain took people that were scientists and did very negative things. And let's not forget, NASA, who was that started by and who was very much so involved in those? Same people. So you look at history and say, my God, the amount of people that went through and were linked with these individuals and then ended up giving them safe havens. Like, it didn't go away, is what I'm saying. Dáil erupts with laughter as Mary Lou McDonald introduced a Taoiseach on return. That is a blip that they didn't mean to happen, because that is a very much so a look into the future, because, as I said, the unit party is the same situation of all time. They're going to do a little rotation. What you'll see at the moment is you'll probably see the current parties try to burn through cash as fast as possible to make sure there's nothing in the coffers for these people going forward. So these people can go, oh, well, you know, what could we do? All part of the plan. All part of the plan. But imagine, you know, a Dáil having a laugh there when people are struggling to pay bills. They're struggling to put food on the table. Lols, here I am here looking like Chairman Mao and Harry Potter here sitting beside me, you know. A fella that's an author and failed at becoming a politician in, I think it was 2 constituencies before he got in, then on the back of a particular constituency that he actually wasn't a local from. And Harry's there now beside Mary Lou, Mary Mao. And you've got laughter. Lols, you're failing to pay bills. Lols, you can't buy a house. Lols, having a great time, lads. Oh my God, I was introduced to Taoiseach. Oh. It's not working out well in the north there with Michelle O'Neill, so it's not going to work out well here either. You know? So, again, they must all dress with the same people. I mean, your woman there, Hillary, she dresses the exact same. Exact same. Let's have a look at this video. This video is another one, and this is what I'm saying. You've got a lot of people then that are not going to give an awful lot of support to the Gardaí, and especially when you see the way people are manhandled in this video. Now, people weren't manhandled like this. They weren't in various areas, and they're not manhandled around the city centre when there's gangs of people that are hanging around there, and gangs known for thieving, known for causing public disturbances, known for urinating in public, not breaking public order though. But let's have a look at this. Look at him. Now, here's my thing, okay? Is this fella not disrupting public order? I want to play it, but this fella starts getting handsy with this fella. Now, that's wrong. Where's this energy for government officials that have done terrible things? Where's this energy for Luke O'Neill? Where's this energy for Paul Reid? Where's this energy for Tony Holohan? But this is how people that are protesting the cost of living and protesting this government are being treated here by some idiot in a uniform. Because they're the big men in the uniform. Like I said, I seen a video not too long ago there of a fella that was standing inside his own gates, looked to be in and around the inner city, and he was absolutely berating people in uniform. Come inside the gate and say what you're saying. Take the badge off, and your man's hanging around outside the gate because he knows well. Now, again, like I'm not condoning or supporting or endorsing or anything like that, anybody to be physical. And I think remaining peaceful is important because what we end up seeing is how badly behaved this fella in uniform is. And is this not a public order disturbance? Because this might have not gone the way that he thought it was going to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, shocking. This comes from Grant Curry, as far as I know, this video as well, just to give credit there.
Look at him. Look at him. Yeah, just come on. Just there. It's too early for that. It's too early. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. That's assault. That's assault. Look at him. Okay. These are peaceful people. Peaceful people.
Like, look at that now. Picking a person up there by the arms and legs and carting them across there. It's absolutely disgraceful. And it's important people there saying, and I mean, agree with them. Are you proud of yourself, are you? You happy with what you're doing? Taking the 40 pieces of silver. It's absolutely disgraceful. It honestly is. And the energy that they're showing towards their own people, again, another indication of where these people stand. On the wrong side of history. In the Star Trek little uniform that was given to them, by the way, by a company as well that's very, very shady, to say the very least. What it was the company was allegedly involved in fraud, were they? Allegedly, speculatively. And that's the ones who were supplying the Garda uniform. Allegedly, speculatively. You know what I mean? Place is upside down.
Yes, Peter, man. This is what we're getting. You don't step up and do something, man.
Now, that energy wasn't being shown outside certain police stations. It wasn't shown by people that were trying to break into the police station because they were of a similar complexion to each other. It wasn't shown at all. People in these uniforms well too ran away from that area. Couldn't drive away fast enough where their mother and son were insulted and assaulted. No energy being shown there.
Imagine what they're going to be like in a few more months. Imagine what these are going to be like in a few more months if we don't.
And that's an important point that Graham is making there. That was signed into law by President Higgins, right? And I mean, even saying President Higgins about that fella, you know, really leaves a bad taste. Signed into law in the Health Act there in 2021 in December that these people could come to your home and pull you out like that. No energy like that though being shown to likes of Chico McCamda. No energy like that being shown to various other people. No energy being shown like that to politicians that have been caught really clearly and in the obvious. Interesting, isn't it?
Rise up in here. Imagine what they're going to be like. Peter Madden had a bad bone in his body. Fair play to Peter. Fair play to. Go on, assault him.
Now, that's another incident as well too that's happened there. This is a different fella as far as I know, and decides to push a fella out of his way. Like, they're getting no support, and the people that are around that are not telling you, man, here, don't be doing that. They're worse. Like, you're coming to a point in time now where saying nothing and just abiding by what's wrong, clearly wrong, in front of your very eyes.
Peter Madden had a bad bone in his body. Fair play to Peter. Fair play to. Go on, assault him. Assault him. It's all on camera, lads. Assault him. He's mad to bash you. He's mad to hit you with something he is. He's mad to hit you. He's mad to hit you. So is he there. He's mad to hit you as well. Look at him. What drugs do you take? What drugs do you be on at this hour of the morning? What drugs do you be on? What drugs? What drugs do you be on? What drugs do you be on? What drugs do you be on this hour of the morning? How heartless can you be? How heartless can you be? God is going to judge you soon, and you're going to fucking hell for what you're doing.
That gets to go with this fella big time, because again, this is the thing. You might take the coin now, lads, and you might say, yeah, oh, it's good and all that. But ultimately, that's where my opinion lies also. Everything's happy and hunky-dory for you now, but when we get to the other side, as I all hope we all do, you're going to be judged profusely, and you're going to be judged accordingly, in my view. And, you know, that's on you. You know, repent. But this fella gets very agitated. Now, these are the same people, and this is just to cast your mind back, over the last couple of years that were walking in. Now, not these people that are here in this video, but certainly this uniform, this establishment, organization, as it will. These are the same people that interrupted the mass, a Catholic mass, Christian events, didn't want to be putting on Christian events, communions, baptisms, confirmations, marriages. No problem, though, we're opening Croke Park. No problem with that. Opening for the religion of peace. No problem with the Black Pits there, a mosque that was opening up. Only because public pressure was on them at the time to say, hang on here now, we've been told one thing and then another. They then televised it in front of people's faces. Where was that energy then? This is what I'm saying to you. Just cash your mind back only a couple of months last year. Again, he shall be judged.
Can you speak? God is going to judge you soon, and you're going to fucking hell for what you're doing. I don't give a bollocks. Come on. This is what I'm here for. You want to keep it up, Brian? You're going back to the back, all right? Now, fuck off. Assault. Just assaulted me. Did you like that on Instagram last night? Yeah.
Nobody keeping your man in line at all there. Way out of hand. Very unprofessional. And this is Drew Harris's PSNI. This is Drew Harris's Gardaí. This is Helen McEntee's Gardaí. Why are these people that are in uniform so aggravated with their own people? Why are they not aggravated with other individuals? Why are they not aggravated with the politicians that have done wrong things? Why are they not aggravated with the media that has stoked flames and stoked problems and endorsed the wrong people? Why are they not angry with Luke O'Neill? Why are they not angry with Paul Reid or the HSE? Why are they angry with people that are just there saying, here, listen, the price of stuff in the country here are outrageous. People can't get jobs. People are now having to emigrate from the country. You've got spoofers out there in the media that are like, young people that aren't emigrating because of poor work and poor job opportunities. Yes, they are, you lying bastards. You are lying through your teeth. And as we know, but this is why it's important and imperative to remain in the country, to overturn this, to run for local grassroots elections and take back control. So as the morons that are in the video here, in particular the fella that got handsy there towards the end, is going to be then commanded by someone with some modicum of sense. Because this fella isn't in possession of any sense and wants to get physical with people there for no reason. So that's where you see the videos then of Paul Murphy and Britt Smith then get more interesting with, this is how they've treated people. No issue. No problem at all. No media reports about that. Zero media reports about this, by the way, about the manhandling of people here or the intimidation and aggravation and aggression from people here in uniform. None of that. It's interesting, isn't it? And this is where and why people are losing respect and civility towards people in uniform, because you have decided to side with the bad guys. You have decided to side with them consistently and constantly. And it's now becoming time where, as Graham says, guys will judge you, because now people are slowly but surely realising, which I'll always hold out hope. This is my thing. Law and order is my thing. That these people will see the light and that they will side with the right side, and they will side with the side of God. They're currently not doing that though. And like I said, there's other people there that are in uniforms to be calming this fella down and pulling him away from wherever he's at, because he's way out of hand here. Way out of hand. We keep going. Aslan cancels Dublin show after Dignam health setback. This is a group, by the way, who were endorsing the passes. Seems to me like that's not worked out. You know? By the way, there was another video that emerged there yesterday, I think it was, of Christy Dignam singing was in the hospital. He had no mask on, had it under his chin. The fella that was playing guitar had the mask on. He was singing Crazy World. How appropriate. How appropriate. Guys, the flu is something to be worried about. This is a fella that did all sorts throughout his youth. He's really split the flu. Oh my God. How they have conned people. Oh my God. But here we go. Here's the strange thing about this story, and what to me is very, very interesting about this is this. How it's reported, because they'll say Aslan cancels the gig after health setback. When you go into the article, this is why they're behind paywalls, by the way, and why they're beginning to put them behind paywalls. The doctor informed the band. Now, just think about that, right? The doctor came and told them to postpone the shows. Why didn't the doctor speak to Christie personally? And is that not a breach of GDPR? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? Like, how come a doctor's making the decision? These people here were obviously happy to go on stage, and it was a last minute gig, as far as I know, that was cancelled in terms of like they were supposed to go on, and then it was like, nah, screw. Doctor said no. That's weird. That's strange. Why did the doctor all of a sudden be like, speak to the band, tell them the gig can go ahead? What is going on? Now, we've seen health scares and health problems with these fellas now over the last few months, particularly Christie. And to me, if you're up on the juice, there you go. I just sat and cried. Retailer faces 21,000 energy bill. Monthly electricity bills to run a supermarket on the edge of Roscommon Town have been skyrocketing since last January, with the latest topping 20,000 for one. If you're supportive of the current thing, I have no sympathy for you. If you weren't, I have all the sympathy in the world for you. President Higgins meets Charles as politicians come together in Belfast. Boards of a feather. 11 worst fact checks by Facebook new fact checkers. There you go, factcheck.org. So it's another joke of a situation. High Court rejects Burke challenge to school decision. Just letting you know even more about the inversion of what's happening here in this country. Here we go as well. Show you this one. This in Dublin, by the way. This has been reported here by White Rabbit. White Rabbit here on Gab. Let's see. That didn't come up. It didn't properly for me. Let's see if it comes up this time. Let's just slow off the mark there. 22.7 thousand followers. So there you go. Very interesting to show this here. This is someone else from a different country that's shown this.
And how people put up with this?
You think it was Beirut or something, wouldn't you? It sounds like the music in was it Wonder Woman 1984 to Zack Snyder Justice Day. Every time Wonder Woman came on, it's off. It's terrible to listen to. It really is. Look at this.
Yeah. 9/11 tomorrow, yeah.
You can't beat the Irish humour.
Is it tomorrow? Oh, it is, yeah, 11. Yeah, today's the 10th, sure, yeah. Yeah.
What I am listening to is bollocks.
What has happened to our country? Really, what has happened to our country? What is wrong with our people? I can't stand that sound.
Oh, stop. Anyway, I'm just seeing the with Madison in the chat there. I know it was a Sancton Scottish there talking about the Thatchers there. Yeah, Sky News Australia were actually saying they didn't understand why there was a reaction the way it was at the time the Thatchers passed. And it's like, holy shit. Anyway, 10th in Dublin, Backgarden advertised on Airbnb for €35 a night. This is definitely going into a Clownland video for sure. Deport illegal immigrants, as I said, asylum seekers, fake refugees, and those who came from Ukraine. Very simple. Very much so to the point. Give you €35 a night for a tent. Lols, Dublin Live, lols, live in a tent. Whilst people are in warm buildings and they shouldn't be here whatsoever, especially when there's hotels in their own country going. You know? Majority of people wanting to emigrate is nature of being young, not the nature of the Irish economy. What a stupid comment. That is the most stupid comment that, and I mean, these people have made stupid comments, but this is one of the most stupid comments that I've seen. The fact that most young Irish people want to emigrate is about the nature of being young, not the nature of the Irish economy. What are you talking about? That's got nothing to do with it. I'd say I'd be able to count on one hand how many people I knew that emigrated, and they only emigrated for a very short amount of time. 5 people probably I've known my entire life that have done that in my circle. 5. And they all came back. That's the nature of being young. No, it's not. It's got to do with the current situation. Can't find accommodation, can't buy a gaff. Seriously, can't buy a gaff. Gaffs when my man and dad were growing up was like 20,000, between 20 to 24,000. And that was manageable. Look, it's all, relative to the time, because again, you talk to your grandparents and they'll say to you, well, things were a shilling and I got that for a shilling, I did, and that was halfpence, and I got this and that. And again, the inflation then. I used to listen to like some of my grandparents and they talk about shillings and halfpences and what they'd get for it. And I was like, that's mad, that is. I'm at that stage in my life now. And I'm only a young fella that I'm going. I remember when an action figure there, to take it just very lightly, was 10 quid. It's now 30. You know what I mean? And like that's what future generations are currently looking down the barrel of as well. And wages ain't rising to meet that standard. And like I said, if you're on €500 every 2 weeks, like I do not know how you are surviving. I really don't. And if you're a 2-income place where you're being forced both of you to work now, and I've heard people as well too, and this is the sad part of it, people now, it's becoming somewhat like, I suppose, America, where old people, like people that are past the retirement age, are going out and doing jobs because they just can't meet, ends can't be met. And then they're looking at the gaps across the road being filled to the brim with these people that have no respect for the area. They've no respect for the social status of what's going on. They've no respect for the culture. They've no respect for the tradition. And they're causing social anxiety and social problems in the places. And they're not being set out to Dalkey. They're not being set out to the Meadowlands or whatever it is in Cork. Not being put out to Meath or anything like that in lofty areas that are out there. Not being put out there. Been crammed in beside the average Joe. So this is why it's imperative that the average Joe stands up and runs for election against these people. Get the message across. Memes work. Pamphlets work. They've told you now, the left have told you now, that the likes of stickers on poles and on bus shelters, again, allegedly, speculatively, I'm not saying people should do it. And they tell you that the likes of the gas stations, not that petrol stations, I suppose you'd say, they're telling you that these memes in reality are working. And the memes that are being sent around to people are working. And you have this utter scutter, as I like to say, coming out of this absolute dump, telling you it's the nature of being young. No, it's not, because people are seeing the job opportunities that are in front of them, which is nil. They're seeing what's happening, which is people that are in jobs that they shouldn't be in, because it's all to do with skullduggery. And then you've got the media telling you, this is a current thing. No, it's not. If the place was thriving, people wouldn't be going nowhere. But what's happening is, and what's going to become more of a factor in the next couple of years, is the replacement conversation point, because that's ramping up massively. That's ramping up that far that I know people that will be more left-leaning now that are saying to me, when I go into town and I look around, I actually think that I'm in New York or somewhere like that. I think that I'm currently not in my own city. And I'm like, yes. Now you're starting to get it. You get messages all the time now of people saying, I went out and this cost me X amount. I went to McDonald's last week and it cost me €40. Yeah, welcome to the world. I told you this was going to happen. So those people are waking up too. And they're greatly unhappy. So be interesting to see how it all pans out. But that is absolute spoof if ever there was spoof. And I mean, unregulated utter scutter that's coming out of this place. You know what I mean? Low amount of views, low amount of likes that's coming out of that place. Totally propped up in my opinion. Again, speculatively, allegedly on that one. But you've got 55,000 subscribers. They didn't mention Enoch Burke in any of their videos. They won't talk about Dylan Quirk either. Seems to be like they choose certain topics, doesn't it? That don't seem to suit the narrative. Weird that, isn't it? Teacher Enoch Burke fails in bid for prison release. The longer this goes on, the more armies will realise what's really going on. And that's important to note, that when you, again, say that to people, hey, Luke O'Neill and people that have stood over what's happened now in the last year. I mean, if you want to even go about it, who's charged with homicide, by the way? If, for example, the 18 GAA players that have now been taken since January 2022, if they've all taken this stuff, who's charged for homicide in relation to that? Now, in my opinion, the way they'll go with it going forward is like, well, you didn't bring it up and you were consented to it. This is how they catch people. That's how they catch people. And they're going to tell people it was their own choice. I'm telling you now, in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see adverts on the TV which will be like, are you injured? Or do you know someone that took this and wasn't, it's no longer with us? That's what's going to end up happening, because, again, it's a spinner. It's a money spinner. But, again, not being left out of prison. This is the same people, by the way, on the other side of the fence there, led by a female solicitor, that is like, the school that wants to punish this fella. Well, you are, because you won't leave what's well left alone. I mean, you're denying this man his faith. You're denying this man the faith that your school is supposed to promote. So you're lying, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. And this guy is sitting in Mountjoy, whilst other characters, to say the very least, are still running around the place. Like, specifically memo files, like, are running around. And this is because whoopsies, investigations didn't seem to be able to do the right paperwork on that one, guys, or we submitted at the wrong time. Whoops. Submitted this one really quick, though. Got this done. Irish newlyweds miss out on 5,000 crews after Aer Lingus flight nightmare. This is becoming an absolute joke as well, this air situation. Look at the crowds out here. I think it's bleeding, what's it called? What did I say it was? Did I say like New Delhi or somewhere like that? Anyway, this is starting to add up as well, because Ryanair now are being punished by Hungary, and they're all telling each other, look, flights are cancelled in and out of the country. This is just to set up the next thing, which is you can't go flying anymore, because these airlines have been well compensated and the people behind them have been well compensated for the last couple of years. No doubt about it. None of them are out crying. And Michael O'Leary at one stage was out crying, saying people just need to take these things to be able to fly around place. No. I mean, you're on the wrong side of it. But like I said, these people are all having technological malfunctions now at this time. Seems kind of odd, and seems like it's all at the same time. Odd, isn't it? Weird, isn't it? McDonald defence letter by Sinn Féin TD warning of risk of conflict between refugees and locals. Kildare South TD Patricia Ryan said conflict with host communities could be exploited by small far-right elements. This is how you know we are winning. You know that you're winning when you've got the urinal upset. And Sinn Féin, this is another one. This is another article to send to your Shinner mates. Here, look at this. People that are locals are upset about their own area being taken over by invaders. And this is how Sinn Féin responded. They responded to call people that are natives of this country, that have been in this country for centuries, they've called them far right now. They're trying to demonise these people. That's Sinn Féin. Right there. So there you go. That's the political party that's allegedly the opposition. Garda nose broken at Guard Books, Dublin gig. I think we can speak. Dublin gig as man due in court this morning. Man is due in court this morning for allegedly breaking the Garda's nose at Brooks gig in Croke Park on Saturday. Speed camera duty from now on, yeah. Robert Troy says he will most certainly stand in next general election. All these people are the same gormless look, don't they? I mean, he's not too far off what Monty looks like, is he? This is how bad the country is when someone that is firmly caught with their pants down is making statements like this. Like, he's just been caught. Like, that's it's like 3 weeks, is it? He's just been caught 3 weeks ago, and he's like, oh no, they'll definitely run for the next election. Like, keep the head down now for, at the very least, for another few months. No, I'll run again. That's how bad the country is, and that's how bad they think you think it is also. To allow Bertie back in, and to allow this fella then to be re-elected. Now, to me, I think elections in the future are going to be really interesting to watch, because you've already seen Dara O'Brien throw that out there when they're talking about integrity. Integrity is something they're talking about now in America, and they're frightened by it, because when people look at the situation and say to themselves, hang on here, there's 30,000 people that are going to that rally over there, and your man over here can't fill a school hall of 500 people. There's something very disproportionate about that there. Also, the fella that can't fill the school hall got more votes in Detroit, which is a black city predominantly, than Barack Obama. Just going to say that again. The fella who can't fill the school hall, Joe, got more votes in Detroit than the black candidate, Barack Obama, when he won. That doesn't sound right, does it? And certainly doesn't sound right when you apply it here to this country either. Again, like I said, keep talking to people. Did you vote for the Green Party? Did you vote for the current situation that we have here? Oh yeah, 11th and 12th and 13th position. This is why the likes of these vote transfers and all of those little measures that they use has keeping them in power as they have. Not forced past the post. Forced past the post is how I would do things in my view. So there you go, TD salaries there as well. Pascal is in there as well. Also there's Neve. Neve that was after being given the job by Pascal. You know, fair play to there now, Neve. You know, telling you to put prices on pizzas, you know. Second-hand shopping isn't gross. The clothes are perfect and much cheaper. They'll want you to rent your clothes next. I think Caravan was talking about that. Amy Huberman, some one recounts hilarious chat between the Queen and Bob on Late Late Show. What? Late Late Show is an absolute joke, isn't it? South Wales Police found a citizen journalist asking him to take down a post he posted online because he used the word illegal alien. The police explained that if somebody sees the post and finds it offensive, it would be a crime. Clownland. I tell you, clown world is way out there. Sinn Féin stays away from the proclamation ceremony but will attend other royal events. Yeah, that's when you know you're not that much of a nationalist party when you're deciding to go to these things. You should not be going to them at all. You know what I mean? James McLean has made a bigger statement he has than you have at all. Council recommends planning refusal for senior living scheme on former BlackRock RFC lands. Cromwell 2.0 full flow, as we can see. Senior citizens, nah, don't worry about them. What about Kalechi and Xi Jinping and all of the rest of them? Nah, you sure like fire them in there, lads. No problem. We put the apartments up, we put them up not quick enough for them. RT Late Show viewers left disappointed that their planned guests don't appear. They brought Higgins on to eulogize your woman. People went mental because a TikToker wasn't brought on. Oh, stop. What a clown world we live in. Yeah, George Carlin there, spot on there about that. TCD students union seeks hybrid learning, refuse to pay fees, stage a massive protest and take a campus back. I mean, that's very simple, you know. The age of social media that you live in now, that should be very easy to do. Aer Lingus cancels off flights from Dublin to Europe. Flights inward, though, they've had to say, not being flown in. Yeah, right. Thousands still landing in the place. Gettr recognised man who tried to break into his home. Kadesh, I think, was this fella's name. You know. Anyway, that's this week's show. We've gone on now for a little while. How long have we been on here? We'll have to check back now into the stream yard. So that's this week's show. Hopefully be on next week now as well. I'm going to mess around probably with the days, I'd say, next week. We'll see how it goes. I was thinking about doing different days and kind of doing the gorilla streams. They always enjoy me. I know a lot of people like the Friday nights as well. And then obviously then, like, I like to change it up as it is. But I want to just say a big thank you to everybody that's been in here tonight. I think we've hit nearly a record at this stage this evening. 80 viewers at one stage. So very much so appreciative of that. Appreciative of that. And thanks again to everybody that likes, shares, and subscribes. Thanks to everybody that's in the comments as well too. I mean, there's over 1,000 messages that they be regularly in the chat there. The chat's absolutely brilliant. Thanks to the mods that are there. I am Derek McManus. You've got the Point Man. You've got Leanne Curtis. I hope I'm not forgetting any of the other mods. If you are, just let me know. I think as long as it's unfiltered one. So thanks again. I must actually write down a list of the actual mods and then be able to shout you out at the end of the stream, guys. But again, another week of Clownland. Clownland is very much so what I'm going to call it from now on. And I think going forward, Clownland is being exposed even more so. And it's been exposed very badly this week with the eulogizing that went on over there. And then also when you see the politicians trying to run out and make statements on Twitter, not make an official complaint to Gardaí, and then wrap it then with the likes of the video because it's been recorded there. Clownland is going to come to an end at some stage, but it's going to take people taking over positions. We've very clearly seen it now with the likes of the Enoch Burke case that a board of management in a school is imperative for you to be on it if you're someone with common sense, decency, logic, and reason. Because that board of management have pushed this on the way it's gone. So you need to be in there and need to go with that. Also, as well, you need to be running for positions in the likes of various different civil servant jobs. And I mean, very clear now as well, Gardaí are very much so in need of base patriots in the job. And I would love to see more people within that profession start to expose what's going on. And I mean, listen, like Ronald Reagan is there saying earlier on, to paraphrase, I mean, you're just hoping the crocodile is going to eat you last. How long is it going to be before they're turfing out members of An Garda Síochána? That might be up to things that are a little bit run toward, but how long do you think it's going to be before they come to you and then you're replaced then, and you're replaced by people that are being carted into the place and are going to allegedly, spectively get up to things then themselves. So again, like I say, we've gone through another week. We've another week down of the Gardaí not arresting any of the politicians, not arresting Luke O'Neill, not arresting Paul Reid, not arresting anyone to do with high profile in the HSE, NEFIT or anything like that. So that's another week down where these people haven't been brought to justice, in my opinion. And especially when you see the litany of articles that are out there. I mean, I'm not Sherlock Holmes, but I can kind of work out as to what's been happening, why there's excess things that are happening in Ireland and across the world. You're going to see it be a very interesting winter going ahead, because you're going to see way more people that are going to be unhappy about prices, and that's starting to ramp itself up as well also. So they're trying to keep people appeased with the credit, but they don't want to put the caps on the energy providers, which to me says it all. So thanks again for being here. I'm going to jump into the chat and see what a couple of people have to say. So thanks again. If you're dipping out now, I'll see you next week, 7:30 Irish time. Let's have a look. Nosy Person says he went out to a viewing with Emmanuel a few years ago. He is sound and his work is on another level. Everyone was down to earth. I enjoyed it. Fantastic. Amy Book says, don't think they're the full shilling Ninja Night. They're used for ages to spread propaganda. Yeah, no, for sure. I do agree with you on that one. They are used, and that's what it's about. I mean, entertainment is the same. Like, I mean, look at the way The Rock has been used. 16 million followers, not getting any likes now, and career done. Like, not for him, because he's a multi-millionaire and he's still going to earn multi-millions. But in terms of people now going to see him, start seeing him on the street, they're going to start talking to him. They're going to let him know. Like, because he's endorsed all of this. And it's the same here in Ireland. You've got politicians and celebrities that are here that have made out their outlandish statements. And it's going to be time enough as well, like you've seen there today with politicians, that they're going to be told what they think of them. Catherine O'Connor says, love Phil Dwyer. He needs buddies at these events, for sure. Yep. Let's have a look now in the chat. Kevin Dalton here says, Open Ninja and chat at a gig tonight, so we'll be back tomorrow. Good to see you in here. Niall O'Hara says, was in at my local Sinn Féin holding court today, told to renounce the name as their, oh wow, foreign puppets. Good to see that. It's great to see people now starting to talk about that. And I mean, that's one of my primary things I'm going to ask anybody that knocks on the door. And again, it's the same thing I've been telling everybody. Ask them if they're in the forum or what they think of the forum. See what type of response you get. And ask them as well if they think paying taxes is going to fix the weather. You know? Jack Angus says, all right, Ninja, state of the roads are bad there. Scotland and in England, due to recycled tarmac being used, as the councils are using their money for the other people's, plus the new bill's been done for them. Yeah, for sure. Do you know what I mean? Like, the inheritance tax is actually, someone was stating it in the video underneath there, like, it's actually an illegal tax, and that you've been taxed like twice on it beforehand. I mean, imagine that, like, people, they want to lower the tax bands so that they can take more off you. Listen, I was talking to older people and they were telling me the fall of the Roman Empire was due to very similar things that we're seeing right now. And I was like, yeah, I know. Let's have a look. Catherine O'Connor says, #Leo Leak. Honey Monster says, Mags was shocked when you said her name. Thanks, bro. Not a problem at all. Good to see good people in here. And they're watching along. Yeah, Charles is definitely part of the forum for sure. He's talking about the climate. Another fella that likes to do things and then be hypocritical about them. Oh, it's rules for me, not rules for thee. You know, this type of nonsense. Oh, yeah. Derek Manis says, Andrew is our son, our favourite son, now less Ninja Night. Yeah, so there you go. Confirmation on that. Let's keep moving. Samurai Jack says, Ninja Night, if the foreign have their way, we'll all be enslaved. Yeah, that's what I mean. People currently are. People have enslaved themselves because, like, I talk to people all the time. They're like, "Oh, you can't say that," and I'm like, "Why not? I'm saying it now. This is reality. This ain't Twitter where they can stop what you're saying. I'm just gonna say what I'm saying." And a lot of people, you get a lot of support. You have a lot of support from people. Lone Wolf Imogen says, "Hello, Erda. Good to see you." Cash on the Lucas says Clown Planet on Overdrive. Clown Planet is way out there. Sheepdog says Jordan booked out the O2 and a bit about her on the fake stream. Yeah, and I mean, there you go. Very good comment there, Samurai Jack. We should all out protest for the release of Enoch book. I think that's what's needed for sure. I think there's definitely going to have to be, like, I've seen a number of people there, a guy called Ferg there in particular that's been outside Mountjoy prison, and I've seen him out there regularly and putting out videos, which is great to see. But I think if you've got a couple of hundred people there at the very least, I think there'd be big noise being made about that. And I mean, here's the thing. Renews would be exposed again because they'll go and talk to 12 individuals, 12 crochet-wearing muppets that are out there telling you about the weather, and the weather can be fixed by paying more taxes and having you out of pocket. They'll go to them. And then if you have 200 people, say, for example, hanging around outside Mountjoy, keeping the story going, because I'm going to do another video on Enoch as well too, to just highlight the injustice of the situation and the fact that he's there now over 10 days for ludicrous reasons. Oh my God, it's because he violated the court order. The court order stems from him not using stupid language, you absolute muppet. And you be the same person that would have looked at Bobby Sands starving and saying he should have just done what he was told. You'd be the same person. So don't talk to me about people doing right things or wrong things because a court said so. You absolute dummy. So anyway, but yeah, I do think people should be out there protesting for sure, and I think more people will join the line there, and hopefully they will indeed. Derek Van Brennan says hello from the Netherlands. Thanks very much. Hello to you. I've seen it recently as well in my analytics. I've seen some mad countries. I think there was Korea was watching the channel. I was like, that's insane. Sri Lanka and all. I was like, this is great to see so many people viewing it. You know, Billy the Kid says people like Borg Dwyer and the Turkish soldier that are happy or that are like the canary in the coal mine for sure. Sure. Court case should be televised like the Yanks. Definitely. If I was him, I'd have it televised for sure. I'd request that. You know, Irish Red says Ninja Knight, the guy was a Kurdish refugee whose family was brought here when he was 6. Yeah, that's talking about Yusuf Palani. You know, let's just have a look. Share the chat. Is it BLD? C Montgomery Burns. Demlot says hoping to see everyone next Saturday. Come and say hello. Have a dog and trek lads in tow. Good to see you. Fernando Murko says Charlie High, he made sure all the roads around North Dublin where he lived were fixed. Not in Cork though. Samurai Jack says Ninja Knight, isn't there a protest at the Blank Centre tomorrow? Let everyone know. Haven't heard about that one. What's that to do with? Let me know in the chat. Oh, could that be a Ruth Coppinger one though? Because I seen her out talking about that, and I was like, there's another Muppet that's another one that says Donna Doherty. That's code for commies. Let's have a look now. Yeah, Triple H says the villain should be Klaus. Ninja Knight, have you seen the new superhero? Yeah, the Irish Red. I've seen the new one that they want to put. Is that Marvel Comics that they want to put there in? I'm like, it's very overt now. And the fact that they want to put the Kardashians in there really lets you know how far Marvel has fallen. But they think they have all of this runway, and the runway is done. Like, people are like, I ain't watching that. Borova 1014 says Charlie Flanagan running in Leopardstown in December. Massive favour, has plenty of experience running from the truth outside Leinster House. I remember him running away from Philip Dwyer. Imagine the former minister there running away from a fella with a selfie stick and a camera phone. Like, fair play to Dwyer. Like, Dwyer was bang on, you know what I mean? Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that commentary on Twitter, by the way. Memory Warrior. Paul Murphy held John Borton hostage, but doesn't like a bit of his own medicine. Yeah, definitely. Is again, once these people are seen in positions, it's like, I don't want to go near any of that, you know? The far right, says Memory Warrior. Yeah, you've definitely got that cropping up, and people are like, that's a false equivalent. Well, no, it's not. I mean, was he not allegedly throwing eggs again? Allegedly, at that, you know, and it doesn't, you know, someone to be allegedly kicked, which there seems to be no proof of. You know, who's that there? Hang on, that says Fernando Murko says he was against bin charges too, and now we're all paying through the nose. Defo. Yeah, bins used to just be collected and they used to be looked after through taxes and all of that. And now you have to pay for them yourself to go all into the same landfill. Irish Red says Ninja Knight Reagan was in the communist crowd in Hollywood back in the day before he was governor of California. Reagan's joke about the Russian people are great, not mocking jokes, but just jokes that the Russian people themselves tell about their system. Derek Malloy is in here, says hello from Chicago, Illinois. Nice to see you here. Good to see you here, Chicago. It's Chicago. Speaking about Chicago, you know, North Chicago, you can walk around no problem. Well, not at the moment you can't, because the city, like the likes of the Magnificent Miles, after being burned and looted and everything. But South Chicago is a no-go zone for white people. Like, I was told that by a fella, and he was like, "Don't go to South Chicago if you're white." And I was like, "Really? Yeah, no." He's like, "You don't want to go there." He says they'll do very nasty things. Tony Mahuna says, I'm angry white people of Ireland won't stand up to the corruption in the country. It's on the way. Lord Todd says that his tank does look good, Derek. His tank does look good. I'm looking forward to that one anyway. Derek Malloy says POTUS Reagan won 49 out of the 50 states back in the 80s. He was totally against big government. Overall, he was the favourite POTUS, second only to POTUS Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, and funny to see Trump echo so many of the statements. And again, I'd say he won the large majority of states for sure the last time. And was done. 7 billion bees, says Derek Malloy. There you go. Nice one for that. Great when the chat you make a comment and the chat are like, this is what it is. 00 Red Board in here says sends a what's up. Good to see it in here. Cromwell 2.0 is an understatement based on that photo of new imports, for sure. Norm MacDonald is the favourite comic, says Biddy the Kid. Hilarious, RIP. Sad, very sad in relation to Norm MacDonald. Very sad indeed. He's passed away now a couple of months, I think, at this stage. Let's keep going here. Let's see what else has been said in the chat. Point Man's in here says Ninja Knight Paul Morphy put his mask on because he didn't want to breathe in the same air as the commoners. Elitist, champagne, socialist is all that he uses the working class to further himself. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, like I said, there's multiple layers to that putting on the mask thing, especially when they all know it doesn't work, and then for the photo op to then, put out the message then that people are still wearing them. That's what I said. I keep saying to people when I see them, I keep just people I don't know, because I'm like, they've been the same people that were irritating me now for the last couple of years keep saying, what are you wearing that for? The funniest one is when you see a fella and he's running and he's wearing it, and I just look at them and I'm like, look at you, what? I'm like, what are you doing with that on your face? Kevin McMahon says Ninja, now decent people have to sell stuff to supplement their overpriced mortgages. Not saying it's right to do that, but the government artificially creating housing shortage. As I said, Kevin, I'll make no comment on that one anyway. But I understand is what I'd say to people, T's in here says, hi, Ninja. Stephen Round says, Phil Dwyer, so brave facing all these people in real life, usually on his own. Really felt bad from the way they all ganged up on Wednesday night at the Civic in Tara. I think it really says an awful lot, though, and it sends an awful lot of courage out to other people, I think, with what Philip's doing, with the fact that he's doing it on his own. Again, like, I'd love to see more people be there, and I know it's short notice as well for him, but the fact that he was able to very much so take everyone on and defeat them very comfortably, I think says an awful lot. And a lot of people just weren't able to do it. And that's why the women in particular got very emotional. They got very emotional because they knew he was right and they were wrong. Because like I said, the primal party over here, our brain knows what's going on. Sheepdog was like, what the F was Paul Morphy thinking, putting on a mask? The psychology of that is interesting. Answers in the postcards. So here goes, says, what did I miss? We're just killing time until he came on, Yeah, Brarva talks about Irishmen and Vikings taking them on. Yeah, people, had issues with the Vikings for far less. Fernando Murkiv says, my mother-in-law passed on her own in hospital as well. I never look at the medical profession the same way again and again. That's another lack of respect I have towards that profession now forevermore, because not enough of them stood up and spoke out. I have respect for the few that did, but the large majority that want to keep this stuff rolling, they know how I feel as soon as I meet them every time. Oh yeah, by the way, thanks very much there. Ron Monaghan's mentioned the fact that I have a Facebook page. It's Official Ninja Night if you want to like it. So much appreciated if you like it over there. I don't think it's going to last long over there, but listen, I'm putting me 50 hours up there if you want to have a look. Stephen Round says, the YouTubers are going to take over politics like Ninja and Friends. I firmly believe so. I think so. I think that's what's worrying them, and it's worrying the media that, like, say for example, the quartering for, for example, is God. I think, well, how has he got? How many has he got? He's got over 1 million subscribers anyway, and he's taken over the entertainment industry along with Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Canal, and various others that are out there. They've taken out Dave Cullen as well too. We're around and love to shout out Dave Cullen as well too, talking about the entertainment industry. Taking over the entertainment industry and telling them, yeah, this is geek. And it's lighting these people up massively because they're like, no, it's not geek. And it's like, well, the TV ratings don't suggest that it's doing well. The movie tickets don't seem to be doing well. Thor was so bad, Love and Thunder, that they've now sacked Taika Waititi from future Thor movies and Star Wars movies. He's done. So don't tell me that's not happening, because that's happening now in entertainment. There's starting to be a shift because they realize people. I mean, Top Gun was part of the breaking of Hollywood when you had a very simple movie about a dude in a fighter jet, real simple, and it's cruising. Do you like the pun? cruising past some of the biggest hitters. It cruised past Black Panther, and they made a song and dance about how much money Black Panther made. And this movie about a fighter jet has just steamrolled past it. Insane. Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, you need to get Ryan Dawson on to tell you the real truth about the 11th of September. Listen, I'll get anybody on, no problem at all. Yeah, a couple of people in the chat there talking about Huberman. I mean, the surname says it all, really, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Samurai Jack says, watch my son Hunter. And liked the way it treated them. Good. More people that see that, the better. It's a satirical soldier in the chat. You know, he's talking about people being like, listen, if they ain't watching you, they ain't you ain't to be looked at. Imagine someone being paid, right, that's sitting in uniform listening to this Gonzo Clown World production, and then maybe most of the time probably agreeing and being like, well, you know, you're backing her up, you're making sense, you know. Yeah, satirical soldier talking about Joanna Fortune there in the chat. You know, see her next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday. Very much so. Imagine a masking an infant, like, you know. People talking about the mothers of Diana and Kate Middleton. That's an interesting one. Must look into that. All of them are there for a reason, you know. All of them are there for a reason. That's why, to me, I think Meghan Markle is an interesting character with how they've reported on her. Like, to me, it's a bit of a laugh, especially now with it was a Sky News went mental. They did. They're like, look at the way Meghan Markle treats a servant, and she just looks over, flicks her hair, and she's like, "Can I just take a picture here with these people?" And then Charles is like literally grimacing at people, and like, the lizard is coming out there through the suit, and they're like, "Nah, it's fine." The disparity, you know what I mean? No, it doesn't matter. He was memed on for like 30 years there, no problem. Taking the mick out, and yeah, no, we should totally worry about him now. Yeah. Yeah, deportations is what's needed. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Irish Red says Ninja Knight. Gorman likes to look. Didn't know Gorman make a comment on Twitter about liking maps, you know? And then, yeah, the connections with Tatchell as well too are very, very much so interesting, to say the least. Triple H, there's no jobs in 2008 coming out of school because of Bertie Ahern. The Cash on the Luggage is running out of Yes Men. Yeah, that's why Bertie's been rolled back out then. But there's nobody in that party making making any sort of noise. None of them are all. Like, this would be our time. You only need 3 people, I think, in a party. You only need 3 people in a party to cause a bit of commotion to then turn the party on its head. Like, Sinn Féin are afraid of that. That's why they oust members individually instead of collectively, because people be like, hang on, what's going on over here? That's why I think if you got 4 people that went into Fianna Fáil with the ultimate aim of taking her over and making her into a nationalistic party, I think they could do very well. Because, I mean, look at the weakness that's there. And, I mean, it'd be very easy to come out and be within the party and be like, look at this guy over here, and he's interested in the farm. And at the very least, show it. Let's have a look. Yeah, the thing is, when they decide to take people off TV and like I said, platforms like this, they just move on to Rumble and they get much bigger. Look, I mean, look at Tate. You know, Tate has gotten huge. Tate's on a 500,000 subscribers now over there in Rumble. That's outrageous, and it's great. You know, part of a 1014 speaks about a Mullenla, whatever, the Sandy. Yeah. And weirdly enough, again, not making any accusations here, but UCC, where that fella works, has been accused of some very serious things. Yes, Tergo Soldier says it's hard not to be angry watching that. It is, yeah, absolutely. Science and Scottish as well said NK, they're lying for years, getting away with it too. Monaghan says they want us to rise up so they can put boots on the ground. Yeah, exactly the same as what's happening in America. They want to have issues in America to do so they can do exactly the same, but it's not working. You see, that's why I'm saying to you, the peaceful demonstration is very important because people will join with you and they see the behavior of the Gardaí there and they look at who they're protecting and they say that's at odds with what's been said here, and they're protecting the wrong people here. You know what I mean? And the more that that's hammered home and nailed on, I think the better. I don't think, like, I mean, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize as well, is if, like what you're looking at in Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, if it's taken over in a certain manner, these countries then become somewhat brutal, and then you're at the disposal of people then that might do. I mean, in Afghanistan they certainly are doing what they want, but like there's also people that argue and say, well, is it any better or any worse than what we currently have? And listen, you can always have worse, but I don't think you can get as bad as what you're currently getting now. I really don't. Let's keep going there. Stephen Brown says, my niece has 2 kids and can't even find an apartment to rent the last year. Irish people need to send gimme grants back like the DeSantis and Texas governor did to the ones in America. Absolutely, 100%. That's what needs to be happening. But if they're parked out like what they're doing there in America onto the grounds of people there that are introducing them into the place, then that's when you're going to have it. That's when you're going to have a big change then, And the bus companies, like if you're going out of business and you're a bus company, like, and you've been told, listen, cart these people around, cart them to where they're supposed to go, Let's have a look. When I say when they're supposed to go, people that have left them into the country. I mean, imagine Helen McEntee coming out and being like, yeah, we're going to let all these people in. I'm going to take some people in, then be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. You think other people should? Kieran Heelan's in here, sends a thumbs up. Good to see it. Thanks very much. Dennis Parfanov sends a good man. Thanks very much. Susan Reynolds in here says evening. Good to see you here, Susan. Satirical Social, this country's institutions are lost. Absolutely. Billy the Kid says, thanks, Ninja and Chat Night all. Part of a 101 Forces Upper What Ninja. Thanks very much. Susan Reynolds says, hey, no friggin' notifications. And that's bizarre because you're actually a member of the channel, so you should be getting notifications for sure. Make sure you have the notification bell on as well, Susan. You probably do, but that's outrageous. But that goes to show you about this platform. It's an absolute joke. Samurai Jack says, thanks, Ninja and Chat. Have a good weekend. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Stephen Brown says, that was horrible how all of them ganged up and fell to where on Wednesday night. About 10 people screaming at him. But I think it's important, and what he did very well is remain calm, which he's very good at, and then also just stating the facts and just made idiots out of him, which I think was perfect. Absolutely perfect to do. And it's just more people look at that, and that's why he's getting over 4,000 views in the video, because people are looking at it and going, that guy has been very reasonable, and these people are just screaming at him for no reason. I'm not letting you in. Who do you think you are? You're a meta, and you can't go in there and you can't record. Who are you? What are you from? The Jim Henson workshop? What are you up to? Like, get out of the way, yeah, over emotional little idiot. Well, not so little idiot, I should say. Like, what are you on about? Why are you protecting people that are actively ruining your life? Well, they probably aren't, because, I mean, some of these people that are telling you that it's not right to be talking politicians like that. The very people, again, that's probably, I suppose, classism. Very people, but as I always like to say, people that live the likes of bikes and scooters and, slides and swings out in the front of the garden, what's going on there, you know what I mean? People that aren't worried about stuff being nicked, because you know what the crack is there. The reason is because they're being housed. If nothing goes missing, they just get it again, and they don't have to worry about anything that they paid for, you know what I mean? So keep an eye out for that. There'll be loads of people in the chat that'll be like, actually, Ninja, you're spot on with that one there. Keep a look in people's gardens and you'll start to understand where the social housing is very quickly. Like, don't worry about possessions at all. Not like you and me. Part of a 101 Forces, they would have sold out Bobby Sands out to the Crown, was important another way of, yeah. I mean, imagine Sands going like that and what has ended up becoming of the South. Now, I know it's all to do with the North in his situation, but imagine telling him, here, listen, this is what the Sinn Féin gang are going to do now in future. I don't think he'd have done what he would have done, Phenom Murkus says, remember when Matthew McGrath wanted to go to North Korea on a mission? He's some man. Samurai Jack says, Ninja Knight, it's against the energy bills and Blanche. Nothing to do with Combi Cop and Jeremy Tinks. Shall look into that one. Haven't heard about that one. Sean Max says, I saw Philip swimming with a mask on, was on renews in the sea in the background last year. Oh, man. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those type of videos as well, that they would swimming in the sea. It's Hibernian Wolf says, hello, Ninja. Yeah. Let's keep going here. See. Shane Lynham says, Carol Nolan was kicked out of Sinn Féin because she has a backbone. That's how they do it, by the way. They do it individually. They did it to Paddy Holohan too, where, I mean, I'm not in full agreement with everything that Paddy Holohan says, but I'm just saying that he was removed from the party, and it was like, he's out on his own, and then there's you're out there. That's how they do things, you know. Amy Burke says, I just checked at Ninja Night. My notifications were turned off, but I didn't turn them off. No shock. Absolutely no shock. Sure, the channel went up to nearly 3,000 subscribers there yesterday, and then it crawled back down then to under 3,000. So I think it's at now 2,897, I think it was. And I was like, all right, so I've gained loads and then lost loads. Makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And this is the important part though, boys and girls. I am getting more likes than News Talk. And they have way more subscribers than I do. And I'm getting way more comments than they do. And that to me is what matters. If I'm getting more views and more comments and more likes, that's all that matters. Because it means then that we're winning. That's what I like. Anyway, guys, it's been 3 hours and 46 minutes now. 59 still here in the chat listening to me. It's good to hear you and good to hear from you as well. It's great to see people in the chat and be so active with each other. And it's brilliant to see a lot of people being in touch and keeping each other informed as to what's going on. And I very much so appreciate that. You've got different people from across the world listening in here tonight. Chicago being represented. You've got Canada being represented. And I'm sure multiple other places there. And indeed, there's a couple of people that are here that are from Ireland that are living in Canada as well, just to put that out there also. So thanks again for everyone that tunes in. She'll be here again next week. Look after yourselves. Have a good weekend. God bless. Keep safe. Look after yourself.